10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Motion picture event. Earthquake in Sensurround. Your most startling motion picture experience. Earthquake. You feel it as well as see it in Sensurround. You will experience every sensation, feel every realistic effect of an actual earthquake. Starring Charlton Heston, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy, Lorne Greene, Genevieve Bujold, Richard Roundtree, plus the city of Los Angeles and its millions of people. Earthquake. You feel it as well as see it in Sensurround. Rated PG.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the shakiest channel on YouTube. We're in shaky ground. Hope everything is well today. Yeah, it's Joe's already experiencing knee trembler. I think that might have meant something different, but I'm a naive person. So I said good golly, Miss Molly. I could have said shaking all over, or whole lot of shaking going on, or
whole lot of shaking going on.
I was trying to think of all those shaking titles in rock and roll. But anyway, yes, welcome everyone. Hope you are well today. Way back in August 2022, as far back as August 2022, we did a live stream on the magnificent Towering Inferno, which was a freaking great stream. And I've always wanted to return to the disaster movie genre, as I've always loved these movies. As I was talking about the Imp before we started, I always love seeing the Earth destroyed in various ways, inventive and creative ways. It's just a fascination I've had to start watching awesome movies. Love it. Love seeing.
A lot of people don't like that that movie 2112. I think it's awesome.
Oh, I love seeing all that shit destroyed.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, today we're diving into the fault lines. Newsom's fault. 1974 disaster flick Earthquake. The movie that featured Charlton Heston chewing the scenery whilst the San Andreas fault chewed the buildings.
Yes.
The only question, though, for me watching this was, which is the biggest disaster? Was it the earthquake or the 1970s fashions?
Oh, God.
One of them was more
there's
painful.
A cameo in here. You would think the old man was a pimp.
It's a pimp. Yes, it's one of the fun cameos in this one, which we'll get to. So anyway, grab your popcorn and strap into your seat, because we aim to make your knees tremble. And the earth will move for you. Or take a see. It took so long writing these. That's how good they are. So please click the like button to share the stream out and all that other great stuff they tell us to do on YouTube. So let's get this out there, and let's get lots of people on board. So we're getting lots of fun. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Imperatus.
Hello.
Hello. Silent but violent.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Actual first day there. It's not freaking cold here in about the past 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
That's everywhere, buddy. Yeah, I'd want it quick too.
We went from minus 30 centigrade to 10 centigrade above, so we're cruising.
Yeah, we hit upwards of 50 today.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So, Joe, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic down here in the dirty South. Yeah, I'm doing great, man.
Yeah.
Big fan of this one. It's one of the first movie soundtracks I bought by the great John Williams. It's in his portfolio of huge movie soundtracks.
Would have the least celebrated, I would say, though.
Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah.
Even though
A lot of similarities between this one and Towering Inferno. They used a lot of the same tropes.
Yeah.
And look, man, it's just fun. Like you said, it's fun to watch the Earth get destroyed. And it happens.
Buildings crashing down, dams bursting.
Yep.
Dams in California full of water. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
It shows you it's fantasy.
Right. It is complete fantasy.
Anyway, good afternoon, everybody out there in the chat. We are, of course, on YouTube. I'm back out of YouTube jail this week, so I can stream again.
Yes.
Enough said. We're also over in Rumble, and we're going out on Twitter. So I'll have to check in on that at some point and see if anybody's really watching.
I'm monitoring Rumble. I just popped out the chat over there, so I got you.
Yeah, and I've got the stream on the phone here too, so I can keep an eye on it on the phone.
You got one of those folding phones.
I do. The Samsung Fold.
Yeah,
great device. Cool. But a guy that's going old and getting blinder, for me, it's a great device. And I've got the new studio here, so the 3 screens up here, the bigger screen in front of me.
Yeah, saw that. That's very nice setup you got there.
Once I get the laptop fixed, I'll have that sitting over there too. So it's going to be it's nowhere near Jason from Sci-Fi for me levels, but it'll be getting there. So.
Here's my question. I don't understand the laptop thing. If you've got that many monitors, what do you need the laptop for?
Well, I was using the laptop as my streaming device.
Oh.
Before I had 2 extra monitors and a laptop, and the laptop was what would be sitting here.
Oh, I see.
Proper monitor sitting here, 3 monitors on the wall. The laptop will be just like an additional piece of fluff if I decide to use it for anything.
Yeah, the laptop's out in the living room for me.
Yeah, but it wasn't working. It's not. The screen's fucked up on it, so I need to get it replaced. But anyway, hello to everybody out there in chat land. We have our usual friends are all here, and it's great to see you all. Hope you're all clicking the like button and smashing and sharing things and consider memberships. And
Vince is in the chat. I love what he just said there, but only Airplane did the shaking right.
Oh, yeah.
With the nice close up. Side to side.
Yeah. There's a slight illusion to that. But good afternoon to Joe, who's I have no idea what Joe's talking about.
It's only on your thumbnail, bro. You don't know what I'm talking about. Look at the upper right side of his thumbnail. Yeah. You'll get what I'm talking about.
Hail, Davina. It's awesome to see you, Davina. Great mod. Friend of the channel. I watched part of Earthquake when I was a child. It was terrifying. The cracks on the ocean floor were particularly disturbing. And yeah, well, this movie's got it all. It's got water, fire, buildings collapsing, and psychotic
gas. They're having to get away from natural gas.
Psychotic National Guardsmen.
Come on, man. Yeah.
It's not looters, let's throw a few more bits in there. Just
got everything.
So hail to D-Bud Martin, another enormous friend of the channel. High sticker, of course, channel member and great mod. Tim is here, FKHC 2005. Great to see you, my friend. Another hockey lover, of course. Snorty is here. How Snorty. And I'm sure I'll miss a few people, and forgive me for that. And hopefully others will be coming in. Vince is here. Good to see Vince. We'll catch up with people later. You can feel free to use the poll, very unscientific poll that I set up. I thought, what the hell, we might as well. Yes, and we have the cameo by Walter Matthau, whose name I still can't pronounce in this. Walter Matus Chansaskaskasisi. That was one of his conditions for doing the movie. He wanted to have an alias just for fun, so and he came up with that one.
I couldn't believe he was in this, and I mean, not that I couldn't believe he was in it, but he's just at the drunk at the end of the bar, man. It's just too funny.
What do you have to do to get a drink in this place?
Right, that's his only line in the whole damn movie. It's so great. Oh man,
polyester was indeed a high fashion. See, that polyester was an electric danger because it sparked fire.
Dude, it was double dangerous because it had paisley all over it. Paisley pattern polyester. Double dangerous.
Yeah, the Towering Inferno seems like a more realistic LA movie. I don't know, because Imagine if a 9.9 Richter
First
scale
of all,
did hit
it's not an LA movie. Towering Inferno takes place in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
That's
That's
right.
right. But leaving that aside,
Yeah.
this was meant to be a 9.7 on the Richter scale in this
Which
movie.
is, look, if they had
The
one like that, the San Francisco quake wasn't even that powerful.
No, the 9.7 has been the strongest ever measured is 9.5 according to the interwebs, which
Yeah.
was the 1960 Chilean earthquake at 9.5, which triggered a tsunami in Hawaii and Japan.
Yeah,
Well,
it's that kind of dude. A 9.7 would flatten that place. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people thought that the devastation in this movie was over the top. I'm like, no, not
and
for that kind of quake. No
and
way.
This is meant to be a 9.9.
Yeah, that's insane.
Should have been a 6.9. Oh, Christian Delo, look at this lovely new super chat thing that's coming up.
Bam! There it is. Whammo!
It's a Streamlabs thing. I don't know how that happened.
That's cool.
So D-Bud, sorry, Christian, our great friend Christian Delorme.
Yes.
I mean, you're welcome to join, mate. You get the link. $20, Christian. Thank you, mate. Honestly, I don't like to be one of these YouTube guys that begs for money, but an old broke man.
You're not begging for nothing.
That is
Just love you.
that is one slice of bread in today's Canadian economy. If you can find any. So bonjour, everybody. Here's a few shots of wonderful Scotch whiskey. Don't forget to tip your server, but Brian, just the tip.
That's
Well,
it.
they can't handle more than the tip,
No.
to be honest. And there is some whiskey references in this movie, which makes me one glaring one. One glaring piece of product placement.
Right.
In the days when that was still okay, but the big one. So yeah, I think it's pretty realistic in terms of the big one. It could happen. It's
yeah. So there's only one really bad special effect. The elevator scene with the blood splatter towards the camera graphic was kind of stupid. It really was.
And it's a PG movie, so they could only go so far with this one.
They couldn't do really anything really super bad. A lot of glass shoved in people's faces. In this
there was, yeah. So we'll do what we normally do. We'll run through some of the background of the movie and features of it, look at the stars, and then we'll show some stills. The usual stuff. Feel free to chime in and be humorous at any stage. Universal Pictures released on November 15th, 1974, which is all in an era where it was one of what was called the Holy Trinity of disaster movies in that era. There was Towering Inferno, this one, and Airport 75.
Yeah.
5
Sharp
years after,
was in two of them. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 years after the first Airport, which I actually find a little bit boring, that movie. It's more of a melodrama.
It's more of a soap opera almost.
Yeah. 75 at least has got, they're up in the plane, pilots are dead. Oh, there will be spoilers all over the place today.
Yeah.
It's not seen these, but so it's one of that Holy Trinity. Budget of $6.6 million, but a domestic box office of 167 million. Adjusted for inflation worldwide on today's money, it would have grossed over $1 billion.
Yeah, and let's get this out of the way quick. One of the biggest drawing points of this movie was this new thing called Sensurround, and I believe this was the first movie to use it. I brought this up yesterday when me and my brother were doing our show when I was pushing this one for you, and when I was a kid, I was a big techie for this stuff. My brother can tell you, I was making my own videos before the age of 10 and stuff like that with an old VHS couple machines, using Judas Priest to Clint Eastwood clips. I mean, just stuff like that, just crazy stuff, right? And one of the things when it came on television, I was a big avid TV guide reader. My parents would ask me what was on TV before they even looked at the book because they knew I read it cover to cover. I was big into television back then, back when we had 3 channels and PBS, right? But anyway, whenever they showed it on television, we actually had an FM station on the lower band of FM that was broadcasting the NBC sound. so that you could tune into it to get the surround sound effect in your home. It had really low bass in the broadcast, and you could do that, and it was simulcast the same time as the TV signal, and it matched up perfectly. So it was really cool. The Sensurround was a big thing back then. I think they made 4 movies with it. Roller Coaster.
Well, I was going to move on to that, but they had Midway. Well, in fact, I'll jump forward. You've beat me to it.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
Flow. There's some of the Serwin Vega speakers.
Yep.
Roller Coaster was one of them. So it was made by Serwin. There was a sound process where these big speakers would produce sub-audible infrabass around about 120 dB volume to augment the effects of the movie's earthquake sequence. Apparently, liquefying people's internal organs. As well as causing actual cracks in cinemas.
Yes, absolutely, man. This stuff was low bass and just shook your seat, man. It was pretty cool.
As you said, the TV version lacked Sensurround during the home look. I mean, you've got somebody's 20-inch TV. That's not exactly going to.
No, it's not going to do that. No.
So they did the FM broadcast through NBC and to try and stimulate some of the audio through good FM setups. But it was a less impactful as it would be because it was just standard. They actually broadcast a standard TV audio, which was often mono, even though it was an FM stereo broadcast. Now, of course, if you buy the Blu-rays of this, it's got the full DTS, whatever, and with all the low stuff. So if you've got the right subwoofers, you've got
a good sound system, you can reproduce it pretty well. With the Blu-ray, I'm sure.
Yeah, now the cinema I saw it in as a 11-year-old in my local town did not have that. In fact, they had just shitty bog standard speakers, so I never got the Sensurround experience.
Really? I saw this one, Midway and Roller Coaster.
So it's Midway, Roller Coaster, and there were 2 more.
Yeah.
And they were interesting ones because they were actually the theatrical releases of the Battlestar Galactica pilot, which was done in Sensurround, and they released to try and make a bit of cash outside of the TV broadcast. And I think they had a name for it, Star something or other. I can't remember the actual name of the release. And it was the pilot. And then
which was 2 hours long. It was basically a movie.
Yeah. And then they also, I haven't got the picture of it, but they also released the first or 2 of the episodes from Battlestar Galactica 80 theatrically, and they also used Sensurround.
And don't forget Midway. Midway.
I didn't have a poster for Midway here, but Roller Coaster. I've seen Midway. I've never seen Roller Coaster.
Roller Coaster had George Segal in it, and it was pretty fun. It was a terrorist movie. These guys were trying to catch a terrorist that was blowing up roller coasters in theme parks. Yeah,
because if it was just set on one roller coaster, that kind of might be a bit boring.
Well, yeah, it was the roller coaster ride itself is what was loud and crazy sounding. Yeah,
that was Universal, and they were going to milk that as much as they could because they came up with it. I'd just like to welcome our great friend Pope.
How's it going, guys?
It's going, mate. Good to see you. Great to see you, mate. You've seen some pretty, I mean, you and I at gigs have experienced some pretty loud bass.
Yeah. The kind where you can, every time the drummer hits that bass drum, you can feel it in your heart.
That's right. Your liquid organs, they liquefy and then start to leak.
It's a shame you didn't get to see this movie in particular in Sensurround, though.
I'd love to.
It was pretty damn cool.
I was going to say, my shitty local cinema just had 2 shitty speakers, so.
Yeah,
they turned them up as far as they could, but all you got then was distortion.
Yeah, just distorted.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sensurround was a huge feature of it, and we do have an exclusive clip of a cinema showing that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rialto Feelorama invites you to stay for our next feature-length motion picture presentation, Deep Throat, which will begin shortly.
In Feelorama. Oh man, that's awesome. Yep.
Feelorama. I wanted to just say hi to Simon Darby, who has just subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Simon. We've had a little flood, despite our Sinbad stream being taken in. We've had a little flood of subscribers recently. It went from around about 1890 to the current 1940 in the last few days. So I don't know. I'm catching an algorithm somewhere at some point without any effort from me. But 2,000 seems achievable now. So thank you to Simon for coming on board. You are getting one of the least focused channels on YouTube with the amount of different shit we do here. So, you know, we're not.
That must be a common thing with us older guys, man. Because I do video games, I do stuff like this, I do politics, I do a little bit of all of it.
We're laser focused on doing. Fuck it, we'll just do this.
That's right.
So,
we're absolutely dedicated to doing whatever the hell we want.
Whatever the hell we want, yeah. So you're not going to get a one subject channel here. But the one thing that unifies it is we try to have some fun. Reach Around, yes, Reach Around would have been a great one for various porn movies. But so anyway, Sensurround. So as I say, the background of this is that disaster movies were hot. For various studios, Universal having been one of those, and they got to there was at this period, I say Holy Trinity at this period was Towering Inferno, Airport 75, and this one all in production at the same time, roughly speaking. Universal had a massive hit with that first Airport movie in 1970, so they wanted to make something again. But wider scale. They didn't want it stuck on a plane, although those ended up getting made too. So they thought, well, what can we do? Maybe we could destroy a city, you know. Fox had also had the big hit with the Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno. So there's some big stuff making a lot of money. Destruction was on the menu, boys.
Yeah. You know it, man. That's and right. Look, they basically all followed the same formula. They gave you the setup of the characters early in the show. They gave you the drama between, you know, the love triangles and whatever. And then the attack happens, whatever the hell it is, the fire, the flood, the tsunami that hits the side of the ship, you know, whatever it is. And all the chess pieces are in place, and boom.
Stock characters.
That's it.
The stock character. The engineer, the fireman.
But the casts of these movies, man, were over the top. How many people were in them?
Fox, in order to produce this, partnered up with Warner Brothers. It was a joint production because the risk was so high. And the budget was so high. But yeah, they had all sorts of people in there. John Williams is in there too in that one.
Yep, he did that one too. Yep.
So Poseidon Adventure, of course, which I think you were saying that's one of the ones you actually like.
Yep. That one right there, that was before Towering Inferno, actually.
Yeah.
That was Irwin Allen's first disaster movie, and not to be his last either.
But, no, not his last. But and Leslie Nielsen, of course, was
one of the better ones he ever did.
Foreshadowing of things to come.
Right.
Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
I've watched this so many times, and every time I put money on Shelley Winters to survive, and she doesn't. So
and she never does.
Just let me down every time.
Right. Damn it. My favorite guy in it's Gene Hackman's. How do I say this? Aggressive preacher. He's not the laid back type. He thinks, you know, God helps those that helps themselves. Right. That's what he thinks. And
I was kind of impressed by Gene Hackman starring in this because I wouldn't say he was an art house guy, but he hadn't really shown any proclivity to make
at the time.
Large budget lock stuff. I mean, he'd done more gritty stuff. Frankenheimer movie.
I think this was even before The French Connection, wasn't it?
I think by this point he had barely been out of the Marine Corps for like 5 years.
Yeah. So not that he wasn't great in it, but it was a masterstroke from him to get involved in something that might have been seen to be potentially that could be a disaster.
Well, and when you look at it, you know, you have Ernest Borgnine, you know, a great cast that were already well known. So him kind of attaching himself to a movie like that makes perfect sense.
Because the other one that was going on at the same time was Charlton Heston again in Airport 1975, the follow-up. A lot of people criticized for being a bit more kind of schlocky. I much prefer it to the first.
My favorite airport movie out of all of them. This one is awesome. It really is.
we have the modern remakes. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's just the news.
It's just the news. Yeah, that's Delta
Right?
75.
Damn it.
We can land upside down. But this one,
Is
of
this a
course,
disaster movie or a Boeing commercial?
or a Boeing
Right.
commercial. Yeah, this is of course George Kennedy in this one, the master of disaster.
I'm telling
George
you, look,
Kennedy.
if George Kennedy is anywhere near the plane you're getting on,
Never get on
never
a
get on
plane.
that plane.
If-
Not
and
good things are going to happen
never.
there.
He's in
Yeah.
all the airport
He's in
movies
every
and the
airport
Delta
movie.
Force.
Yes.
It's like either George Kennedy or any rock guitarist from like 1975 to 1990.
Yeah.
Just run,
Never
get on another one.
a plane. Never get on a plane.
Oh man.
So there's a reference, a cute reference in this because the producer of the movie eventually Universal appointed Jennings Lang as the producer. And he produced a number of Clint Eastwood movies, including the one that makes a cameo in this movie.
Yes, it does.
High
Matter of fact,
Plains
you might say
Drifter.
it starts the earthquake.
It does. They're sitting there, and you get the guns under the seat, and
Right. It's the barbershop scene in
yeah.
High Plains Drifter. It's awesome. Yeah.
Because Jennings worked with a lot with Clint Eastwood in the early days as a producer, so High Plains Drifter makes a great appearance, and he also produced all the other airports except the first one. So not the first, but 75, 77, 79. Again, never fly with Scott Jennings, the producer, because he's always thinking, how can I crash this thing?
How
can I
can
blow
I
up?
destroy this thing?
He brought on a guy who I must admit slipped under my radar for many years. I'd never really thought about him because he died in 1978. It's a Canadian filmmaker called Mark Robson, who can be seen here making sure the talent's well taken care of. He worked way back. He started his career way back working with Orson Welles. He was editor on Citizen Kane, made a lot of low-budget RKO horror movies that are cult movies now, like Cat People. Then moved into directing, and there's the great Cat People, which is like a real cult movie these days.
Is the Cat People from the 70s? Is that a remake of this?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
The one with Bowie's great song,
Bowie's-
"Putting Out Fires with Gasoline."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but then he went on to make a whole series, directed some great war movies. Some of my favorites: Hell Below Zero, The Bridges at Poko-ri, great Korean war movie. The war that never gets as many movies as it should, I don't think.
Yeah.
They did get 12 or 14 seasons of MASH, which was like 4 times longer than the actual war. But
Yeah.
And then Von Ryan's Express, which is just a phenomenal movie. Great movie. And then Lost Command, which is a lot of fun if you've never seen it, which is more of a French Foreign Legion type thing, almost. So he made some good stuff before this. Earthquake was his last. That's not him. Earthquake was his last movie released in his lifetime. He was making another movie, and in '78, which he died, and then it was released in '79. And God forgive me, I can't remember the name of it. So he went out on a bang with Earthquake, the director. Screenplay. Well, we see this guy, Mario Puzo.
Yeah, his name's on this. It shocked me.
Yeah.
I know who he is now, but at the time I didn't know who he was. And
Well,
this guy's one of the greatest writers
He'd
ever.
had the big success with The Godfather, so Robson brought him on.
He wrote the novel The Godfather too, didn't
Yeah,
he? Yeah.
He brought him on to do the screenplay for this, and he did write a draft screenplay, but apparently it would have been too expensive to film. It was a lot more extensive over different areas of LA and more destruction and stuff. So they went, yeah, we'd love to do this, but it was like triple the cost of the movie. So he then got the call to go back and do Godfather 2. So a lot of his stuff still is in the screenplay, but they brought another guy on who's there's no don't think there's a picture of this other guy. That's not him. A guy called George Fox was brought on to revise the screenplay, like 12 revisions with the director. He was a magazine writer. I don't think I've ever seen any picture of him or anything he's ever done. It was the only movie he ever worked on, but hell, I guess he he knew what he was doing with this. So they got all that in place, and so they had a movie to make. Next thing is obviously casting. Well, who did they go for? But Chuck,
The king of the epic at the time.
king
you
of
know.
the epic,
Oh yeah.
right? Peak major league star since the 50s. We forget. I know we older guys kind of know all about him, but I think a lot of people now forget just how popular he was.
Well, I remember him most from his biggest disaster epic of all time, heading the NRA.
No, that's right. Could make a movie out of that one, yeah.
Well, I mean, the list is so huge, man. He's Moses in the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
He's a direct line to God.
Not Spartacus, but he's Ben-Hur. I mean, dude, the Planet of the Apes, I believe, was before this too.
We're gonna get to some of that, but yeah. So Stuart, he plays Stuart Graff, and believe you me, through this movie, I never refer to people by their character names. I just use the actor. Who cares? Just use the actor or actor.
Yeah, but you got to remember his name in this because he played with Frank Gifford. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. He played. So he's a former college football star, now a structural engineer, estranged from his wife Remy, and involved in an affair with Denise Marshall. But Chuck got $600K in salary and a slice of the profits, so I think he was quite happy.
He did all right then. Yeah.
And in this movie, he's in the Sean Connery mold of pursuit leading men. You know,
Yeah.
Not a Schwarzenegger, whatever pumped up that we got used to later. This is what masculine men looked like in the 70s.
The 70s. That was the macho dude in the 70s right there. Yeah.
So major star since the 60s, 50s, in fact. Here he is as Moses. I mean, you can't imagine anybody else in this role.
No, you can't. That scene right there, in particular, where he parts the Red Sea, is just hit the whole lead up to it.
I do
his
like
speech is awesome.
I do prefer the Mel Brooks version. I bring you these 20 commandments. These
10 commandments. That's awesome.
But no, I mean, I remember back when we were a real country, and this would be on TV every Easter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
ABC still shows it on Easter.
Well, the
do
10
that.
commandments.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
the 10 commandments. Yeah, it's epic. This man has the right line to God.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't just play Moses. He played this isn't John the Baptist, but he played John the Baptist as well in a movie. He played Mark Antony 3 times in movies. And he played Moses. So he played Moses, John the Baptist, and 3 times he played Mark Antony. It was like his signature role. He probably was part of the Roman Empire.
Oh, he's
Well,
been
as
around
Ben-Hur. He probably was an honorary member of the Roman Empire. And Ben-Hur, of course.
He's the Roman equivalent of Keith Richards, where it's just we all stopped. He just kept going.
That's right. Yeah. So Ben-Hur, I mean, it's another movie where I keep betting on the wrong one every time I see it, and the wrong. The charity I bet on never wins. One of these days, it's going to win.
One of these days.
But he also, I mean, he also was in Major Dundee, which is a great movie if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was dozens of leading roles. El Cid.
Look, he's so big. In Towering Inferno, they cast 2 heavy hitters to fill one slot that he fills.
He fills that one slot. Paul Newman and Paul Newman, Robert Redford. He also played, of course, a famous Mexican in Touch of Evil, which today would probably not be well received. There's another Touch of Evil reference later, but so he then is the weirdest thing because he then kind of moved into the kind of shit that we love, the science fiction genre, and became a major sci-fi lead. Planet of the Apes, the Omega Man.
The Omega Man. I was about to say the original
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Yeah, no doubt, man.
I loved this movie dearly when I was a kid. Still love it today, but as a kid.
Isn't he also in Soylent Green? Oh, there we go.
Soylent Green,
Green. So he became a big hitter in the sci-fi movie world, which I'll always love him for, you know. So that's one of our favorites, Chuck. Charlton Heston. We had a clip. Now, I'm going to warn you right now, something went wrong with this clip and the audio doesn't sound right. And then after playing it a couple of times, I thought, well, actually, maybe it's better this way. I don't know. So I'm just going to play it anyway and leave you to your own conclusions if I can get this bloody mouse to work. Oh, the mouse isn't working. Technical shit's going on. Hang on. Oh, there you go. I got to get out of that screen. See, having 4 screens is not as easy
Yeah,
as it
dude, you lose your mouse a lot. The more screens you have, the more chance you have to lose
I
your
got
mouse.
it. Right, there's something weird went on when I produced this. I just want. You know what? I haven't got time to redo it. That's his famous appearance in Wayne's World too.
Wayne's World.
This is a low budget movie, but surely we can do better than this. They bring Charlton Heston. Moving along though into the cast, Ava Gardner here in some kind of pose.
That's when the first of the prequakes happens,
yes.
and you see that she's actually acting. She didn't really swallow the pills.
She was pretending to swallow the pills.
Mm-hmm.
She plays Remy Royce Graff, Stuart's wealthy and possessive wife, the daughter of construction magnate Sam Royce that Stuart works with, big time lush and desperately trying to cling on to her suit husband.
Super diva extraordinaire.
Indeed. Now, Ava Gardner had also been an old time big movie star for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Here she is in the I think it's the Barefoot Contessa.
Mm-hmm.
I think Southern Girl from North Carolina. Her accent was an issue early on. One of these girls never intended to be an actress, but somehow a photograph of her ended up at some studio guy, and that was it.
Look, she was a statuesque beauty.
Very beautiful woman.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Very beautiful. So she had a bunch of hits: Killers, Showboat, Mogambo, Barefoot Contessa, which I think this one is. And just before, I tended to forget this, but because I don't particularly like all of that stuff that she was in.
No.
But just before this movie, she'd had a great award-winning role as Lily Langtry. You can see her there on the poster in The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, which is a great movie.
Yes, it is.
And she was really good in it. So I'd forgotten that she did this great movie. Victoria Principal was in it too.
Oh.
But anyway, moving on to another star of the movie, the master of disaster himself, as we said.
Yeah, and he moved up from just a supporting character to one of the top characters in the show in this one. He's not a supporting character in this one.
And I'm going to go back here, sorry, just to highlight one of these chats. She looks like Charlton Heston just made her Earth move. Yes. Yeah, it's just this film opens itself up to those jokes.
It does, big time.
So there's some other really interesting comments going on. Maybe I'll skip those for now. But so back to George Kennedy, a beloved George Kennedy, of course. LAPD officer Lou Slade. He's even got that name. Sounds like a bodybuilder, Lou Slade.
Yeah.
A tough and honest LAPD officer who's probably then the only one that's honest. We've seen
he's the Dirty Harry of the movie, really, but he's a patrolman. He's not a detective. Yeah.
He gets demoted for assaulting a superior officer. Well, it's a sheriff, not really a superior officer, but
right.
Master of disaster, as we said, never get on a plane or go up a tall building with this guy. Don't go near anything, any dangerous machinery, whatever. Especially don't get on a plane to the Middle East with him. Look at that look, that shit-eating grin.
You know what, man? There was a movie that him and John Wayne were in. It's my favorite Western John Wayne ever made. It's The Sons of Katie Elder.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's the strong guy for the bad guy in it.
Kennedy was
great. My brother and I ran that scene backwards and forwards just to see if John Wayne hit him in the face with that axe handle at the blacksmith shop, because it sure looked like he clocked him. It really did.
he was in so many
Yeah,
good movies when you look
Mhm.
back, and of course later on, absolutely spoofed his persona in the Naked Gun movies.
Yes, absolutely.
Which, funnily enough, the car chase in this movie looks like the start of Police Squad.
Yeah.
It's filmed from the bonnet
Right.
of the car, and I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking that's Police
The
Squad.
way he's driving in it, man, you talk about overcorrecting. Oh my God. You can tell it's a green screen kind of thing going
In
on.
fact, I
Or
wouldn't put
no,
it
it was
past
back
the Zucker,
projection. That's what it was back then. It was back
I
projection.
wouldn't put it past the Zucker brothers to have done that on purpose, knowing that
Right?
Steve Miller
I
was in
think
it.
they did. I really think they did.
Yep.
But sorry, I'll go back again. I never know when to stop with these. I should think saying last picture for this person.
Right.
Long career, died at 91 after over 100 movies and TV shows.
He was tough.
Cool Hand Luke, The
Mm.
Dirty Dozen, Delta Force, Naked Gun. The man was a legend.
Yep.
TV like Dallas and shows like that. He ended up on tons of great TV shows. Always one of these guys is complete value for money every time.
Yep.
Just love him. Love
Never
him.
turned down a role, that guy.
Yeah. The other female lead, or one of the three, I guess, is Denise Marshall, played by Genevieve Bujold, French Canadian Genevieve
Woo!
Bujold.
Oh my God. I was in love with this woman. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's my type. Petite brunette. That is my chick right there. Wow.
So, playing a young mother and aspiring actress who works for Sam Royce and has a close relationship with Stuart, despite him sending her husband to his death.
Yeah.
As we find out later in the movie.
Mhm.
She got over it pretty quick. And Stuart ends up in bed with her as the big one hits. So,
Well, what better way to say you care for someone than killing off her husband?
That's it.
so I'll leave you to your conclusions about that one.
Right.
The big one hits as they get into bed. So she is also, as I say, French Canadian actress. Got her start in 1969 playing Anne Boleyn in Anne of a Thousand Days. Lots of French and art house stuff before that. She's still a pretty art house actress to this day. She's one of the ones that's still with us from this movie.
I'm hoping you got the movie I dig, the couple of movies I dig.
Well, I think I will. Well, here's Tightrope with Clint Eastwood.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which obviously everyone likes a bit of a Tightrope. Great movie.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
But the one I love, there's two I love actually that she did. One was Coma.
Yes. Michael Crichton's Coma. Yes.
Michael Crichton's Coma, which I watched again recently with a young Michael Douglas.
Man, I will watch anything with that dude in it. He is awesome.
So we will be talking about this movie one of these years.
Need to.
And the other one I really, oh God, it's not there. I don't have a picture of it. The other one is she did a great movie called Dead Ringers, David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
With
Absolutely.
Jeremy Irons playing the two brothers. Yeah, that's
once again plays an actress, but this time she's a drug addicted actress.
Yeah.
And
but I mean,
movie right there.
Tons of other stuff, and she actually, I don't have a picture of it. I thought I did, but I don't appear to. She actually spent a day and a half as Janeway in Voyager.
Really?
But she quit because she just basically couldn't handle the pace of episodic TV.
Really?
She was well out of her comfort zone.
She was supposed to
bang, bang.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's pictures of her in uniform as Janeway. They basically said it's not going to work. You can't. She was in collapse and tears and blah blah blah. Couldn't handle the pace. She was used to films and it could take longer. So otherwise, you could have You could have had her as Janeway.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Janeway or the Highway. Exactly. I think that's what they said to her. So who else? We're not going to go over every cast member because this is one of these movies, but some of them are quite interesting.
This
guy is really interesting, and I never knew anything about this guy. So Marjo Gortner. Marjo standing for a portmanteau, as they call it, of Mary and Joseph, because he started as an evangelical preacher.
Wow.
Not an actor. Still alive and kicking with us today as well, by the way. Again, one of the few that is. Jodie Jode psycho grocery store manager and National Guardsman.
Wow.
The two do go together.
Mhm. Right?
With certain tendencies. The villain of the movie, if you will.
Yeah. Most definitely the villain of the movie. Yeah.
Because if you
I
think
would
of
say-
like Towering Inferno, for instance, there's a couple of slimy guys like Richard Chamberlain, but
Yeah,
there's no
Richard
real-
Chamberlain was definitely a slimy
there's
dude,
no
but he wasn't
real
really a villain. He's
villain.
more of a drunk.
Yeah. But this guy lets the power go to his head.
Mhm.
He's got a dangerous fixation on Rosa Amici, Victoria Principal's character, which we'll get to later. But yeah, former evangelical preacher who turned actor.
Wow.
Now, I can only recall seeing him in one other movie, which was this one,
Star
which is
Crash.
the
Yeah.
Star Crash, which has got the Caroline Munro.
Yes.
So just for Caroline Munro alone, it's worth watching. Italian sci-fi at its best. This is what she looks like in that movie. So I recommend everyone should watch it.
So this is Zardoz for straight people.
Zardoz for straight people. and we went from Marjo Gortner, evangelical preacher, to this in record time. Caroline Munro.
I applaud you for it.
Yes, the goddess. I love her so much. Richard Roundtree
Yes.
gets a run out. Miles Quaid, the Black Evil Knievel, he's got a snazzy leather outfit. I really do like the outfit. Daredevil stunt motorcyclist, hoping to make it big with his new Loop the Loop stunt, and forever perennially short of a gas of butane.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what? When I rewatched this today, all I could see when I saw him running around in that outfit was Black Lightning. That's what I was thinking.
That's right, Black Lightning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
The
of course, he was super
Shaft.
famous because of John Shaft,
Yeah.
which are
What,
just
did he play in the
great
NFL
movies.
before he started acting, though? I think he did. I think he played football before
He
started.
did. And when they talk about people being, oh, you don't like black movies or black people in movies, everybody I knew in the 70s loved the shit out of Shaft. They
You kidding me?
loved these
He was
movies.
Mr. No Bullshit.
We fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? We love this.
He was the Black Punisher. That's what he
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Never will there be a character like Shaft.
No.
Blade's the closest, I think.
Mhm.
So he was great. He did a couple of other things. I mean, he ended up doing a lot of TV and sort of B movies, but he was in, not him. He did do Maniac Cop with Bruce Campbell, which is a pretty good movie, actually. I do like that movie.
Yep.
And City Heat with Clint and Burt Reynolds, he was in that too, but mainly TV, a lot of TV after this. Lorne Greene, as we almost saw there. Lorne Greene, another Canadian actor, of course. Powerful businessman overseeing a major skyscraper project, father of Ava Gardner's Remy, and employer of Carlton Heston. There's a little bit of nepotism there. I, of course, grew up watching him in Bonanza and then Battlestar Galactica, the aforementioned Battlestar Galactica.
Oh man, yeah. Adama, his portrayal of Adama. Both the guys that have played Adama have been really great. But
I mean, I used to really adore Lorne Green's Adama until the remake came out.
Until the remake.
Until you
Edward
saw
James almost plays a great Adama too. But he's my Adama, man. That's the guy when I was a
but before that, we had Bonanza, which I watched all my childhood. I watched Bonanza, loved it dearly. And then, of course, as we say, Adama. Now, the funny thing about his character in this movie, his character is supposed to be the father of Ava Gardner. Well, Lorne Greene was 59 at the time, and Ava Gardner was 52. So what a stud. He fathered her when he was 7 years old.
Right?
All I can do is look at Maren Jansen right there next to him. Oh, my God. I was in love with that woman. Woof. Woof.
Yeah. So you could say he's the king of Sensurround because he was in 3 Sensurround productions with the 2 Battlestar Galactica.
Now, here's a question for Joe, because I know he's into both of them. So, her or Erin Gray from fucking Buck Rogers?
Her. I'm
Okay.
a brunette guy, dude. I'm not a blonde.
True.
Absolutely. That's my taste though. But Aaron Gray's easy on the eyes too, no doubt. Yep. But Maren J, where a lot of people like, I can't remember who the chick was that played the hooker on this show.
That was Genevieve Bujold, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I guess I've never seen that before. That's crazy.
Yeah. She lasted a day and a half.
Wow.
Poor Les. Anyway, sorry. That was a distraction.
But yeah, Maren Jensen's the one I was in love with. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks to Vince Womack for that link.
Here's some trivia that has to do with music. Who played Apollo's brother, who was the first casualty of the war against the Cylons?
I don't know. Andy Gibb.
Negative.
Who was it?
Hang on.
I can't remember.
You were saying something.
No, I had no idea.
You don't have a guess? Rick Springfield.
Oh, I had a horrible feeling you were going to say that.
Yep, Rick Springfield played him. They were on a reconnaissance mission, found the fuel ships, and were on their way back. And his got shot, and he was lagging behind. And Apollo had to get back and warn the fleet, and he died just short of the fleet. Yep.
Yeah, you'll never get to see Jesse's girl ever again.
Never again. Yep.
So Lauren Green, 7-year-old fathered Remy. What a stud. Okay, let's get to the main event. Victoria Principal.
There we go.
Rosa Amici, a young woman working at a grocery store, becomes the target of Jodie's obsession. Also, how convoluted is this? The sister of Richard Roundtree's manager, Sal, who you see there. How convoluted is that? However, they did use her in this hilarious sequence where...
Oh, man. A small yet impactful role.
Yeah. This is not long before she would become a worldwide star of look at George Kennedy's face.
I mean, look there. I mean, dude, could they make this movie today? What do you think?
Even Richard Roundtree's like, God damn, dude, don't stop staring.
Right,
don't show this to Nick. He's going to want to put this on Toxic Tuesday.
And then he comes out with the money for Miles.
He starts handing over cash. He wasn't going to give him a dime until he saw that T-shirt, man.
So how toxic is that? This should be Toxic Tuesday. That's so toxic. That's so funny. Great sequence. Again, PG, so they couldn't go too far, but so Victoria Principal, obviously, we love her. Well, there she is again.
Oh, yeah.
Not a big girl, but she makes the most of it. Here she is as Pamela Barnes Ewing, of course, in Dallas.
Yeah, that's what everybody remembers her from.
JR thought she was a real airhead, but he was never that nasty to her, and like his wife, Swellen. So, fun fact, he was born in Japan. Daughter of a US Air Force guy stationed there. She's also happily still with us on this mortal coil. Because in these older movies now, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in the Life and Times of Judge Roy Boone with Ava Gardner. She got actually nominated for Best Newcomer at the Golden Globes or something. So she's really good in it, actually. Very good. Not at all Pamela Barnes Ewing. So she had a little bit of a track record there. But she's pretty good in this in her limited role.
Yeah, I mean, short but impactful part of the movie.
Impactful part. It's the funniest part of the movie, almost. Really.
That, and she's the damsel in distress later on.
She is.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned him earlier. But so credited only as drunk at bar. In this, I love this bar, by the way. This is where the cops are. The guys are fighting, and the cops are just sitting there drinking.
Just sitting there having a drink in uniform.
Yeah. And under the alias, Walter Matthau agreed to be in this as a cameo, and he must have got well paid for it, I think. But one of the things was he said, "No, I want to have a fake name for fun, Walter Matuszczynski. I can't even pronounce it. Forget it."
And he's only got one line in the movie. Yeah. But the funniest thing he does is he tries to have a sip of his whiskey during the damn earthquake.
What do you have to do? What do you have to know to get a drink around here?
And yet that all sounds perfect for Walter Matthau.
Yeah, it does.
Not Walter
now,
Matthau.
The line is, who do you need to know to get a drink around here?
That's right, yeah. So, funnily enough, this part was meant to go to Harry Morgan before Walter Matthau did it.
Really?
Harry Morgan of MASH fame, of course. So, but anyway, Walter Matthau ended up doing it in a pimp suit, in a pimp outfit.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the underground place that's set up as a triage where they first take the kid to, but there's a guy dressed just like him.
He's there.
It's supposed to be him,
Well, I think
but it's not him. You can tell it's somebody younger.
But it's meant to be him.
Yeah, it's meant to be that character, and he's in the background with a flask, drinking and dancing until he falls over. And
he wasn't.
Happened.
Walter Matthau was only getting paid for one day. He wasn't going to be there for those shots. But yeah, it was one of the weird. Even at the time, I knew Walter Matthau was a big star.
Right?
I was thinking, is that Walter Matthau?
Right? Is that him?
And his name wasn't in the credits, so I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. Anyway, I was only 11. I didn't question it. So, a few others quickly before we get onto the movie itself. Gabriel Dell was Mike's manager, Sal Amici, and brother of Victoria Principal. And obviously happy to pimp her out for $50. There are a few others that we haven't got images of. Some old school guys that were in lots of things like Barry Sullivan and Lloyd Nolan, Kip Niven. But another guy we need to mention is this guy.
No, brother.
Donald Moffat.
Seismic Research Center. Yeah. And I thought right away, I was like, the dude from the thing. Oh my God. Yep.
Legendary later, 5 years later, 6 years later for being in The Thing.
Yep.
Donald Moffat. And he was in lots of other movies, but we'll always remember him from The Thing, one of the greatest movies ever made in history. So
I love how you can clearly tell that's a prop gun too, because there's no hole drilled in the fucking cylinder.
Yeah.
No. None.
So lots of other cast members, which many of them were old school. There's a lot of old school guys in this from the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
The director, the DP, cinematographer was a guy called Philip H. Lathrop, and he's important in this because there's a lot of interesting scenes that had to be filmed and a lot of meticulous setups for these falling rocks and all the other shit that was going on. So he was seen as the man for the job because he had extensive experience with widescreen, big budget stuff and capturing that kind of stuff. Like things like this, had to be filmed in a certain way, and like this stuff, which I love. This
and the hose made me think of the Towering Inferno right away.
Fun fact: this is actually a current day picture of Oakland.
That's not surprising.
That's surprising. So he was great at setting up and filming this stuff and all these stunt and special and lots of practical effects stuff. Mainly studio bound in the end. They set up a lot of it in studios to control it easier. Mm-hmm. Look at these shots. I mean, you're getting a lot of miniatures, matte backgrounds.
Yeah, I was going to say the miniature work was really cool in here.
It's just cool as hell, and he was great at filming all this and in widescreen and so on. So look at that. I mean, this is the stuff that as a 11-year-old at the cinema, I was just in awe of this when I watched it.
Yeah, and what you're looking at there, that is definitely a movie set that's built in. Yes. But everything around it, how they put it in there, is just amazing to make it look real, dude. That is just badass. Really.
But I should have mentioned that he is. So we mentioned Charlton Heston in the movie where he plays the Mexican. My mind's just gone completely blank. Touch of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
So Touch of Evil that had that 11-minute boom camera shot, continuous at the start, is famous for it. That was him. That was that cameraman.
Wow.
That DP did it. Because he did a lot of work with Orson Welles. So yeah, he worked a lot with Alfred Hitchcock a lot in the 30s, and also did Universal horror stuff like The Wolfman. So he had a great track record as a cinematographer. The soundtrack, obviously, you mentioned, was John Williams.
Yeah.
Also did the
lesser known ones in his catalog, really.
Yeah, it's one of the least known. It didn't even get a wide release at the time. It took years for it to get a proper release. And a lot of it is it sounds that emphasize the earthquake action, discordant stuff going on in the background, whatever. It's not actually a dominant soundtrack. You don't hear a lot of music in the movie.
There's you know, I can't even recall the theme from it, and I just watched it, you know, because most of his stuff has a theme that you don't forget, you know. Even the stuff he did with the Towering Inferno was really good. So
yeah, and he did Towering Inferno and the Poseidon Adventure, so he had a bit of a track record in disaster too.
Look, all the biggies in Hollywood were working on that. These were the superhero films of their day. This was the genre that made the big money. You know, everybody got involved in these productions. Right?
Yeah, and he had to make a score that was discordant enough to underseen all these scenes of destruction. So he did it pretty well. I watched it 3 times this weekend. You start to notice it. I never noticed it before.
You know what's funny though, Brian, and just real quick before we go on. I don't know about you, but I collected soundtracks to relive the movie after I saw it because we didn't see them again for a long time.
It took a while, yeah.
I mean, it took a while for them to get out of theaters. You had them in second run theaters for almost a year. And then the next time you'd see them, and this is before VHS, guys, before we even had a home theater kind of thing, we didn't see them on television for a good 3 years before they came on TV. So,
yeah. So anyway, he did. He also had to underpin this Sensurround stuff, so he put in a lot of low notes. But I mean, we could talk for hours about the visual effects, stunts, the practical effects. There was to this point, it was the biggest Hollywood production for stuntmen ever. 200 plus stuntmen working on it. Visual effects like collapsing buildings, the falling debris. All that stuff that we saw here, miniatures, there was explosions, mechanical devices, all sorts of optical effects, making things wobble. Large models, these were not small models as well. A lot of them were big models they destroyed. They must have had some fun.
They learned that lesson on Towering Inferno, though.
Yeah, and they all meticulously planned that out, apparently, and so it's all well choreographed. Showing every building collapsing at the right time, whatever.
And this is, I think, technically even a little more challenging than the Towering Inferno because that model just had to be designed to catch fire and
look realistic with flames on, right? Yeah.
This had to be designed to collapse in a way that would look good on camera.
Yeah. Plus, in some of the scenes where, if you think of the scenes where they're dropping the concrete blocks on cars. There were people around, so there was an awful lot of setup to make sure nobody got hurt.
Right.
With that, because some of these were real concrete blocks.
Yeah, some of the stuff was real concrete shit falling. But the one scene that really, I mean, if you want to see how really well they choreographed stuff and the kind of stuff that went into the special effects on it. There's a scene in it's not Lorne Green, but one of his associates is on one of the floors and he looks out the window and you actually see the skyline of Los Angeles and they recreated it with miniatures. You can tell behind it, it's the Hollywood Hills and stuff behind it.
Yep.
But they put the miniatures in there and they were crumbling and it looks awesome.
Oh, well, we'll see some of that when we get in fact, I do have a couple of video clips which hopefully will get away with. So again, just let me manipulate my mouse so I can get it on the right damn screen.
You'll get there, buddy.
Stuff like this. This is my favorite.
Yeah, that's the exact scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, awesome. I like Capitol Records in the background. Let's hope that falls over pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. There's other stuff I wanted to show along those lines. And there's one or two I can't show because I've just got retrospectively. So here's some of the actual. So I think, given that these are all practical effects set up with stuntmen, and they really do work.
Yep.
I think. I mean, it doesn't look cheesy or half-assed. It's no, and there's no digital CGI shit going on there. This is another good one.
You can tell that's real concrete being dropped on those cars, man.
Oh, yeah.
Watching them. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
Now, some of the other stuff that's falling on the people, that's probably styrofoam or something like that. But the stuff that's falling on
the cars, that's real shit. Yeah, they did say they had a ton of concrete blocks dropping. So it was a guy called L.B. Abbott led that special effects team, and just wanted to shout him out. And then a guy called Gene Warren was another guy who did a lot of the visual stuff. And the stunt work was stunt coordinator was a guy called James T. Parsons, who was a veteran stuntman. He had to make sure, obviously, all those stunt guys that did all the falling and whatever, nobody was getting hurt. Great choreography. So they did that stuff superbly. Obviously, Charlton Heston tried to do some stuff, but there was a limit to what you could do. But,
and back then, a lot of the top tier stars, they wouldn't let you do your own stunts because the insurance company wouldn't fucking pay for it.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, that was why Jackie Chan always had to insure his own movies. That's a little later than this, but he made enough money on those movies that the insurance company was like, no, if he gets killed, we're not paying for it.
So really a visual triumph, visual effects, practical effects, stunt work, brilliantly done.
The only thing that bugged me, guys, and
shaking platforms to get people to
technical thing completely, but you'd never see natural gas. You'd never see it. You just smell it. But they physically showed it to you in different parts. Like some of the smoke plumes you see that's not from a fire, you'll see them in green on the screen. And that was supposed to be gas. And they showed them in vents, coming through and stuff. The big scene where they're lowering people with the chair. It's gas that's filling the place and they need to get out of there, that kind of thing.
That's one of those, movie magic moments.
They have to show you what's going on.
Yeah,
you
won't understand it because fortunately smell-o-vision never took off.
Right.
Otherwise war movies would have died on the spot. But yeah, they do have to kind of give you a representation on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A couple more of these. We'll play these clips now before we go into the movie stills as we normally do. Hang on. This is another of my favorites, the freeway one.
Yeah, every bit of that looks like it was shot on a turnpike, just drivers going back and forth,
Yeah, but I love the fact they pushed,
and it's awesome. Yeah.
Are you sure that's actually, footage from this movie? It could just as easily be I-93 in Boston.
It could, yeah. It's just every day.
Canadian truck driver falls asleep at the wheel, goes right into the river.
I-35 in Dallas is probably close to that too. But, I love the fact that the bit of the bridge falls over on top of what looks like a Volkswagen Beetle or whatever and crashes it like that. Those guys are thinking, "Oh God, I survived falling off that." Splat,
squish. Davina Duckworth says, "Stunt cows."
Stunt cows, yes. Chipped beef is on the menu, boys. Get in there. And I've got one more of those that I can show, and this is another one of my favorites. We'll see it in the stills. You see an awful lot of cantilevered houses in LA. Never the best idea, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, wow. A couple of things about that scene. Why did the guy build his house out of cardboard? And just asking for trouble. And secondly,
this is LA. Even back then, building materials were expensive.
It's ecological. It'll break down.
Was that up to code? Was that up to code?
But at least back then, they at least made it look like a house. Now they just live in the box.
Yeah. I actually love the guy. I didn't show it because I had to keep it short. The guy standing on his balcony with a beer and a chicken leg.
Yeah, chicken wing. He's eating.
He's eating away, and he rolls past her on the way
down. See, I want to see him roll past her with the beer, not
the beer.
Yeah, he's still got the beer, right? Not spilling it.
Have him hit the end of the ramp there and just go, saved it.
Yeah. So that's all the clips I had to play because I'll probably get claimed as shit for those anyway, even though I tested them first. I hope you're all loving this show out here, by the way, in the chat. Thank you all for being here.
Oh, they are, dude. If you listen, look at
The
what
chats are great.
Davina is just on fire, dude.
Yeah, Davina's on fire. Tender eyes.
Soul Assassin had a great question too. When are we going to do 1 million BC with Raquel Welch?
Oh, well, I actually did talk about that recently on something.
You did,
didn't I? What was it on? Oh, it was the Ray Harryhausen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Harryhausen. We've got to do that. Yeah, there's so many great movies. You believe that bovine can fly? Keep them coming, guys, and anyone out there who hasn't voted in the poll yet,
Build Back Better.
Build Back Better. Barbecue's on the menu, boys. Anyway, so I got a couple more images though. So I had the great privilege before they closed it down to do the earthquake ride at Universal.
I thought they still had it there.
Florida? No, they changed it to one called Disaster, and then I think it's a Fast and Furious one now. I might be wrong.
Oh,
but I was at the earthquake one.
Nice.
Before it was built.
Survived the 8.3 that leaves you.
Yeah.
Screaming? Nice.
And it was great. So I did the earthquake one. I think it changed it to one just called Disaster because people had forgotten what the movie Earthquake was. And then I may be wrong. I haven't been to parks for years. I think it's a Fast and Furious thing now. So someone in the chat will correct me, I'm sure. But it was a lot of fun. So yeah, so that was a thing too. And there's another clip from it. That was the Hollywood Universal one. But
wow.
It was a pretty impressive setup, that, you know. But as I said, the movie Earthquake had become like, kids were like, what? Who? So they just generically called it Disaster after that. Yeah. Anyway, let me hide that stream. And we'll do what we normally do. Take a drink of water.
Yes. Down with that.
And we'll fire up some stills from the movie and just take a run through it. I've got lots of funny notes here. So, there we go. Kick it off. So, the thing about this movie, like all disaster movies, the first X amount of minutes are all melodrama. Now, is that, they call it the Hollywood Dam in this, but I think it's actually the Mulholland Dam. And I don't live in LA. I have no idea.
I think you're right. I'm not entirely sure though.
Yeah. But this is where we get introduced to the fact that, you know, Chuck is a real man.
Yeah, he's virile. He works out daily, and it's making her sick.
Yeah, and he's got the most sophisticated equipment.
Oh yeah. At the time, that was $high stuff.
And Ava Gardner's pissed off because she's a lush, and she's on the way down, and she doesn't think he loves her, and maybe he didn't, because as it turns out, he works for her father, her 7-year-old father. Anyway, she's a bit pissed off because there he is. Look at, that's the Sean Connery look. Trust me. But that's what men looked like in movies in those days. But I like the insult she says to him when he's like, she says, "Don't you lower your voice at me."
Yeah.
As opposed to, "Don't you raise your voice at me."
Right. Don't lower your voice at me.
That chandelier's lethal. Look at it. Poised.
They actually have a Poseidon adventure moment during the earthquake with a huge chandelier, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely lethal, that chandelier. It's right above their bed, apparently. So this is when she realizes that that was a real earthquake. So the drug thing.
Yeah, she was. If you don't know the what's going on there, guys, she had feigned committing suicide. There was an empty bottle next to the bed with some water. She had swallowed a bunch of pills, and he was calling for help with it. And when the earthquake starts, that's when she gets bug-eyed, like, "Oh shit!" Yeah. She was acting the whole time.
Oh my god, I forgot those '70s blazers that had the top.
Now, when I was working in the Middle East, I drove an '80s blazer that looked like that.
With the thick-ass pinstripe. That's what I did, dude.
The 80s blazers didn't have that T-top on the roof.
No, but they had the stripe still.
Yep.
The blazer with the muscle stripe. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's a beauty. That's what he's driving. Hell, he's even got a car phone in it.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, that was super high tech.
Yeah. Yeah. What you don't see is there's a 3-ton truck behind him with the transmitter.
Right.
This is right
I was
behind
gonna
him.
say. Oh,
So we're getting up to the Hollywood Reservoir, stroke Mulholland. And you can tell it's not real because it's full of water.
mhm.
Reservoirs in California don't have water in them.
Yep.
Yeah, they had this tremor and there's the car phone. There's only 3 of them though. You can only phone 3 people.
Right.
But yeah, that's a sign. That was a sign in movies then of how important you were. You had a
Yeah.
car phone.
He was rich. You
Yeah.
got a car phone.
Yeah. So I mean, there's one cell tower probably. So this guy goes down the elevator. I always thought that was a fun. He goes down the elevator. And you can just imagine at the bottom when the door opens, he just.
He just got
Yeah.
swallowed up by water. Yeah,
Yeah.
He drowns in the elevator. Yeah. Mhm.
So we got that all going on, and then this is the police. This is the police squad bit, the naked gun bit.
Yes.
That's what the front of it looks like.
That was going through my head when during the chase because the lights are there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that reservoir could be California because it's not empty already.
And his partner's chewing his ass because he's already in trouble from the last time he was
That's right. Don't
So
upset
from
the
the last
sheriff.
time you shot someone.
right.
Yeah. He's covered that he's gone across the county line. I mean, what a
Oh,
heinous
man.
crime! Heinous
no.
crime.
Oh man,
Uh,
intense.
Oh, by the way, we saw the scene earlier in the office. I'd written it down here. Royce is the guy who owns the construction company. That guy missed a chance. He should have hired a guy partner called Rolls. I mean, he really could have milked that.
Right.
Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce. There it
Yeah.
is.
Hey, it's our names. What can you do?
Sue me.
Yeah, sue me. So this is when the sheriff decides that he doesn't like the hotshot LAPD guy, and the LAPD cold
Yeah.
cuts him.
I love how it just says county sheriff. It doesn't say what county sheriff.
What county? Yeah. Now the thing about that is the guy crashed through the fence, the hedge of Zsa Zsa Gabor.
And that's what he's chewing his ass about. Like he
Yeah.
did it, and he
Yeah.
gets tired of it and punches him
But-
right in the face. That's what that
but-
close up is.
I think he says it's Zsa Zsa Gabor's hedge,
Yeah,
and in
Zsa Zsa
reality,
Gabor's
it
house.
was her actual hedge. She was the master of cameo appearances and references.
Her house even had a cameo. Look out!
No, but there was three Gabor sisters, and they were all in the business.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's Zsa Zsa Gabor. I remember you'd watch films through the 70s and 80s, and she'd be in it for like 2 minutes as a cameo. But does this woman actually ever work? Anyway,
There's my
no
girl
offense.
though. Oh my god.
So Denise Bourgeois, because she uses the fiction. Well, her son wants a signed football by ex-college star Charlton Heston. Just so it happens to have a famous player on it too.
But yeah. Well, he even admits, yeah, he doesn't want it for that. He wants it
Yeah.
for Frank Gifford.
So what you saw when he pulled up there, of course, is quite interesting because it's all these cantilevered houses up there. You're thinking, yeah, cantilevered houses in an earthquake zone are always going to be a bit of
Not
a
a good
problem.
idea.
Well, I mean, when you look at building on terrain like that, it is by far the cheaper option than building a foundation that's 20 feet high.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
But you just know that these two are going to end up. He's going to make her Earth move.
Yeah, for sure.
The big one will hit her at some point,
Mhm.
much to the annoyance of Remy.
He's
His wife.
helping her run her lines.
He is,
Here.
and this is the cheesy part of the movie I could have done without.
Right. It's
But look at
yeah.
his face. I love Charlton Heston's facial expressions, and these stills were all caught like.
Am I really doing this?
It's probably like, really? Again?
He's gonna make the Earth move under
Under
her
my
feet.
feet.
This is where we see George Kennedy straight ahead because he tells about the horrible crime the guy he was chasing did, and then some Peckerwood rich man's whore. I love that. But yeah, he's got to get suspended because he punched a poor sheriff. But we know he's a straight ahead guy.
Yeah.
So the Californian seismological institute. Look at the high tech gear we're talking about. They've even got a very, very large helmet, like in
There you go.
Spaceballs. That's a Spaceballs helmet right there in the corner.
Dark helmet. There he
Yeah.
is. Only that's light helmet. Yeah, that's light.
Yeah. So these guys have got, this guy's got the prediction. He got predicted this one, and he's predicting a big one within 48 hours.
Yeah, he's the kid genius.
Yes, kid genius.
Mhm.
And there's our Thing, the guy from the Thing, Donald Muffet. Now, I love this whole sequence. So these
I
two
do too.
guys,
Yeah.
this is Dr. Adams, who's the guy that's come up with the prediction theory. And he's out in the field dropping phallic symbols into holes. What is that thing you got in your hand there?
Sentient sensors. Yeah.
And then we don't see it because the stills didn't capture it, but there's another trembler.
Whatever he's holding there, I just hope it's not hooked into 220.
That's right.
Right. Could
So-
be trouble. That's a lot of voltage.
So what we don't see, and unfortunately in the sequence of stills that my program captured, was this trench gets filled in with this tremor.
With them
and
in
these
it.
guys die.
Yeah,
These-
they don't make it out of it.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
there's the real genius is now dead in the trench. But do you know what the real cause was? Forget about earthquakes. It was this band of violent,
Forgot about
vicious
that.
sheep.
Yes.
These, see, they're running away from the crime scene. They did it.
They can't be getting away with it.
They're the ones that did it. The damn sheep. I should have played this video for Christian earlier. Where have I got it? This is for Christian. So it's the damn sheep. They sneakily murder them, fill the trench in, and run away. Ovine oppressors.
Too much, man.
Too much. I couldn't.
Here we go. They gotta practice on this thing.
I love
this
how the ramp they're using for a motorcycle looks like an old wooden roller coaster.
It does,
does.
doesn't it? It does. And it's just the
That
same.
looks like it'll fall apart at any second, man.
So this is Miles, and of course his thing is his area there's next to where the kid goes down into. You realize that just 2 minutes after the kid's cycling into the spillway there, that Arnold Schwarzenegger on a motorbike drove by.
I was going to say, when I was watching this afternoon, I said, you know what? This is probably the first movie I ever saw the iconic
The spillway.
spillway, other than
Spillway
maybe
was-
them, because a lot
Yeah.
of them took place in there when they were looking
Yeah,
at the game.
well,
So,
Escape from LA is taking the part in there. Terminator, Grease is in there.
Grease is in it, yeah.
Grease is in it, yeah.
But
Didn't
this
they
is
call
before
it the
Grease.
spill-
I think Grease came out in '76, didn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was after this. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that kid's in there, but that's next to where Miles is doing his masters because he's going to replace Evil Knievel.
That's right. The guy from Vegas is coming in to check out his
Yeah.
stunt. Yeah.
Well, I think it deliberately does look a bit ramshackle because he hasn't got a lot of cash.
No.
In fact, he's short of cash for one more butane tank.
Right.
I just always loved the look of it because for those of you who grew up in New England, there is a amusement park up in Salem called Canopy Lake Park. They still have a wooden roller coaster there, until they closed. I think it was 2021, and it looks, the track and the setup looks just like that.
It's really encouraging if you were going to go in it, isn't
Oh,
it?
it really is. You're just like,
You know,
I don't think so.
I hate those old roller coasters. I've been on a few of them, and not that I'm a big fan of roller coasters generally, but there's a big one in Quebec, in Montreal. First time I went in that, oh my God, the vibration and the noise and it's because the
That's what scared me off of it. Like, I don't mind most roller coasters, but the Yankee Cannonball, no, it just feels like it's about to shake itself apart.
I know, they're like, oh, and the noise of the modern ones are slicker, far better. So the dam bit there, by the way, so that they showed the dam, and it says strict protocol. Says any tremor demands an immediate underwater inspection, but this is Los Angeles, so the guy just goes down in an elevator, comes back up drowned.
Yeah.
Never mind.
There might be a problem there. Maybe.
Yeah. So we get introduced to this grocery store with Jodie, Marjo, whatever, playing Jodie, with a rather ill-fitting wig. And
my God,
of course,
It looks like a cross between a 70s rocker and Colonel Sanders.
that's right. Now, this is where you get the George Harrison was outside in this group of Hare Krishnas. You just have to look closely and you see George Harrison. But So he tries to get Lou to get rid of them, and he says, "I ain't got no problem with the religion."
You got a problem with the religion? Yeah.
Now this, I love this bar. This
bar is happening.
I would drink in this bar.
We need to find this place in LA, dude. First of all, no racial bias. There's whites and blacks hanging out together. It's cool. Everybody's getting along until somebody does something in a pool game that doesn't agree with somebody, and they throw fists right there, and nobody.
The cops are like,
the bartenders, the cops don't even care. They just let them fight it out. Whatever.
So
it's like the best combo of your local dive bar and hockey game, where everyone's
right there, all in one.
Right at the two people decide to drop gloves, and then everyone's at it.
So at this point, Royce was saying, are you really going to have these strict building regulations on this new building that we're trying to sell for this guy? And Carlton Heston's straight, no, I'm not giving an inch away.
That's right, because he wants it to be earthquake proof. We're in an earthquake zone. It's got to work right.
You should have teamed up with Paul Newman.
Exactly. It's the same message. There's a lot of parallels between this and Towering Inferno. You see it in the script. Yeah.
Well, and remember,
Paul Newman wanted everything above standard in this because it was such a huge building, right?
Well, and when you look at it, that's the message they're trying to send, and it's the right one of do this shit right, because the results can be horrible if you don't.
Right, if you don't. Yep.
I love the
fact just missed the fist fight in the bar, by the way.
Yeah, but Walter Matthau, that must be the easiest afternoon's work he's ever had to do.
Right.
These guys are all arguing about if there's a big one, what are we going to do? These are the experts, of course, and then they go to the mayor.
Yeah, I don't understand the thinking here. Let people know so they can get the hell out of Dodge, man. At least get down to the street where they can dodge some debris. I mean,
they are saying if that's where they find out the guy died in the trench, but it's true. It's a dilemma. If you say, my God, this is going to be terrible, and you evacuate 8 million people and nothing happens, someone's in the shit.
Right. Somebody's, it's a problem, but they do get the National Guard mobilized. That's for sure. They take that step at least.
Well, eventually they get there, but this is where father and daughter, and the daughter looks older than the father. I never understood this. I thought, how can that be your father?
Because he was dad on Bonanza. That's why,
right,
man.
So this is the mayor, and there's the guy at least does take it to him. I mean, give him his due. He takes it to him. But I love the part where the mayor goes, well, the governor's not even in the same party as me.
Yeah, here come the politics.
Here come the politics. Oof, wow. Of course, that wouldn't happen in California now.
Black lightning.
Yeah. This is the best part of the whole movie, almost.
Dude,
apart from the destruction.
Never forget this scene.
So this guy's gonna eat this.
He's already been in one fight that George had to break up. Right, and now he's going to beat up Richard Roundtree because he owes him money.
And Walter Matthau's just doing this whole. It's so.
I'm telling you, this bar is off the chain, bro.
Yeah, and Lou's like, I'm not lending you any money, you chancer.
Yeah, forget about that, man. What are you high? I'll never get the money back. You know
I do love the fact Evel Knievel was a huge star then. I mean, we used to watch him. We watched him on TV, and even in Britain, he was all excited about his stuff. But this is where he's, come on, I need your help. I need your help. Show the T-shirt.
Show him the T-shirt.
And the reaction.
Boom! There it is. What's up? George said,
really? He reacts. And then George Kennedy reacts.
There you go. Starts handing out money like he's at a strip club.
It's funny as hell.
Yep, that was awesome.
Yeah, and now it's time for these guys to get it on, although they seem to be fully clothed, so, you know.
Yes.
But it's Charlton Heston. He doesn't need to be undressed to make sweet love.
Well, I think he's second only to Chuck Norris, where, you know, the second he makes eye contact, they're pregnant.
Boom. Well, that's right. They're impregnated within seconds. Yeah. So... Oh, yeah. So back to the grocery store, which is we find out that Jodie here with the wig and has got the hots for Amici, Rosa Amici.
Actually, no, this is where he hears on the radio that they're activating the National Guard.
Yeah, they're activating the National Guard. The mayor
hauls ass.
Yeah, and we found out he's in the National Guard.
Yep.
At least Miles does get to go through his
Yeah,
thing
he does.
before it
He does.
collapses.
We get to see it once. Victoria Principal thinks they're nuts. She's walking
Yeah.
off.
Didn't they ask her to get on the bike or something? I don't know.
No. They're explaining why they need her to be the hot chick on the when the Vegas guy shows up. She's like, "You're crazy. You're out of
So
here."
we got a Jody. Jody's heading home to his pad, and he's got these guys bullying him outside.
Yeah.
And he's got the military gear, the helmets with the holes in them.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, then he takes the wig off, of course, when they're all
He's seen Apocalypse Now.
dissing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're mocking him for all the pictures of guys on the wall, the bodybuilders. So, yeah. So you think, maybe he's going to be a problem, and he's a National Guardsman.
National Guardsman with a wig on. Now
With
that freaked me out when I saw it. I was like, what?
So,
Hey, the last 3 years, that's probably pretty common.
Yeah,
right.
Hail to our good friend Zax. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, dude.
Zax, great channel, everyone. Go hang out with Zax. Wonderful guy.
His Wednesday show is great. I watched.
Oh yeah, I've had the privilege of being invited on it a couple of times. Fun, that Saturday night, fabulous fun. Great show, great guy. Thanks for dropping by, mate.
Now he's been offered a promotion here, and he's like, "Let me take some time to think about it."
Indeed, because he just well, Remy, of course, is pulling the strings.
He thinks the daughter might be part of this.
She's such a drunk; she could have called herself Remy Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to bust the date. Got to bust the date.
He's got to blow her off, and now we're getting closer to the action. The kid's going out.
Yeah, all the chess pieces now are starting to move into position. Right, we got these guys trying the jump.
Oh,
we got the kid fixing to hit the road on the bike.
I forgot. Back in the scene where the three guys were dissing Jodie, there was a lot of references to British cigarettes.
Yeah,
this is in a PG movie. You wouldn't be able to do that.
Exactly, it's a PG movie, and they're talking. Yeah,
British cigarettes. Yes, you're a British cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the pieces are getting set up, but it's funny if you think about it. Would you really let your kid go out on his own on a bike in LA now? Is that
no, you wouldn't
anymore?
today, but at 74 you would.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. I wouldn't imagine it happens much now. Not on their own.
Not today. No, you kidding me? No.
So
back then, shoot, we didn't come home till the streetlights came on, right? I mean,
we were out all day. We were forcibly ordered.
Forcibly ordered. Get the.
It's like get out. What are you doing sitting in the house? You've got a bike, haven't you? Get out.
That's it.
Yeah. So, various shenanigans going on here. The melodrama.
Melodrama.
But it does put her in the city in one of the buildings. His wife. That's key to the positioning of people for future events. They're all in the position they need to be.
Now the Vegas guy just showed up. We missed completely where he actually made the jump. Apparently he didn't get in the slides.
Well, he did, and the slides are. Yeah, I mean, I don't go through it image by image; it's automated, so I take what I get.
Yeah, I got you. But he actually did the jump. If you watch the movie, guys, he actually does the jump, and that's pretty cool. It's obviously edited, though. You can tell when he goes into that first loop that he misses it the second. It's the same shot where he missed it, and then they got it coming down.
We're third of the way, nearly halfway through the movie. They're finally cutting to the chase.
Yeah.
Here's the cantle of
There's the guy
beer
boozing and eating. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the dam, and they're realizing it's flooding down there. Water's rising. And we're in the movie theater.
He's about to pop it off. What's up? And here we are in the theater.
Because the same producer. That's why.
Listen to me. Victoria Principal's in there watching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so shit starts to.
Oh, yeah. Everything's shaking and quaking.
And it's pretty freaking awesome for the next 10 minutes.
It is pretty cool. The special effects in this part are badass. Yeah. It really is. You got to remember, this is 74. Everything's practical effects and matte paintings and stuff like that. And it's just amazing what they did.
To anyone who played Roller Coaster Tycoon as a kid, this is what my designs used to end up as.
But
There's
yeah,
actually, if you've ever played Stuntman, the video game, you can actually build jumps like that at the Demolition Derby too.
and here's the
Oh, no, I meant the pile of rubble on the ground.
Yep.
I'm surprised there's not that many vehicles on the road either. This is LA.
Yeah, it's LA.
Yeah, true. They'd be doing like 4 miles an hour and be bumper to bumper up out till San Diego.
Now here's the kid. The bridge he's going across collapses. And then, boy, I tell you what, he is right at the wrong place to be because there are live wires all around that kid. I mean, all over the place.
Yeah. And there goes the cantilever guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he still has the beer. That's what I'm wondering.
He saved that beer. Save it. You're gonna need it.
Yeah,
But,
every one of these houses come crashing
and
down.
all the mission bells.
Yes, that thing collapses. Yep.
Yeah. Extremely well choreographed.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, he tries to save the window cleaners, man. He can't do it. Yeah.
And this is one of the.
That's the shot you showed earlier of the miniatures.
But it was very good with those two guys. Somebody said earlier, the two guys that you see falling out, they just step out.
Yeah.
Respect to that guy for trying to save the cleaner. I could never do it. Well, at least if it's the new one that's coming out with She Who Shall Not Be Named. It's like, oh, oops, missed that one.
Miss Ridley. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Still making payments on that cantilever house.
Now this guy
Build back better.
He shoves two girls out of the way and actually saves their lives because these guys, it's such a hokey thing, guys. This thing, the effect of it was really cool. It's a runaway elevator. They show you that the electrical brakes aren't going to work because that pops right before it falls, and it's going 100 miles an hour towards the bottom. So you see the people actually hit the roof, but then when it hits the bottom, they do this weird blood splatter thing on the screen that looks like straight out of a 50s sci-fi movie, you know?
Yeah, I didn't have that clip, unfortunately, but that's that's probably the only bit you really see any blood in the movie.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's really.
But it's I mean, they do tell you if anything like this happens, don't get in the elevator.
Right, and these people are cramming that thing.
I got it. It was like Touring Inferno. They all got in the elevator and they all made Mr. Crispy.
Yep. These were Mr. Squish.
Mr. Squish. They started out this height, they ended up that height.
That height, right? Yep. Too much.
Oh, man. Great scenes though. I mean, I recall watching it as an 11-year-old in the cinema, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And look at that. That just looks so good.
It is. It looks, and that's probably what the place would look like if a 9.9.
9.9. Yeah.
It's wow.
Yeah. As I say,
San Francisco, I'll have to look it up, but it was less than that.
Frisco wasn't that much, I don't think. So this is, as I say, that's what Oakland would look like. It looks like today.
From what I understand, if a 9.9 ever happened, the San Andreas Fault would just split.
Yeah.
And California would just go into the
Pacific. Maybe surfing to Denver? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
More like the old line from Anima of learn to swim, see you down in Arizona Bay.
Right. Well, beachfront property in Nevada would become very valuable. That's what they say anyway. But I mean, it's always a risk. I mean, the Pacific Rim, 90% of the world's earthquakes are in that Pacific Rim, and most of the deadliest ones, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's the San Andreas Fault, 750 miles. If you go to Palm Springs and go up into the mountains above Palm Springs, you can see the fault running right down the Coachella Valley.
Yes, you can. I've been up there.
Yes, it's incredible.
Because Palm Springs is right next to my least favorite Marine Corps base of all time, 29 Palms.
29 Palms, famous for the song, of course.
No, famous for being Satan's asshole.
I've been up there. It's I've spent a few times in Palm Springs and up to the desert.
There was the line, hey, who do you have to know to get a drink in this bar?
Yeah. He's still sitting there.
The 1994 North Ridge quake was 6.7 on the Richter scale, and it devastated San Francisco.
And it was nothing compared to the 03 quake.
Yeah.
Didn't that one also lead to an outbreak of bubonic plague because of all the rats that got driven up from underground?
I think you're talking about 1906.
1906 was a 7.
The 06 break, that's right.
That was a 7.9 in 1906.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the deadliest one in history, I have a whole bunch of things I've written out here, was in China in 1556, and they consider that it was the deadliest because 830,000 people died.
Whoa.
That's not fair because China packs them in like goddamn rats and doesn't have any safety features at all ever.
We're talking about the 1500s, bro.
Even then.
The Tohoku one in 2011 in Japan which we all saw the tsunamis and all the other mudslides and everything, that caused $360 billion in damages. So this shit is happening, and there's 50 earthquakes a day of magnitude 4 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the ones of what, like 2 or lower, you won't even notice.
Yeah. I was in a 3 something in
3,
San Francisco when I was there, and my wall locker was walking towards me. That was about it. I mean, it's when they get above 5, 6 that it becomes really, really, really hazardous, man.
So now it's into the more of the rescue portion of the thing. How do we get out of stuff? How do we stop the dam from... Now, they're in the dilemma with the dam because the guy wants to turn the water off or drain the water, but they're saying, well, they're going to need that water in the city for firefighting and drinking and whatever. But then it's just this thing sitting there to flood the city too.
Yeah, look, that guy wins the argument. He tells him, look, if we don't relieve some of this pressure and this thing goes, then there'll be nothing between here and the coast left friggin'
But that is a genuine issue. I mean, it's like, how do you balance that out?
Look at these live wires around this kid. And she is just walking around like it's nothing. I'm like, drag him out of there. What are you doing?
I like what Vince says, sorry. There we go, putting all the blame on some poor Mexican called San Andreas. That's a funny joke, but yes, imagine if it went at the same time as Yellowstone, which of course is just one gigantic caldera waiting to explode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's flat, guys, doesn't mean it can't explode.
Doesn't mean it won't go. Yeah.
Walter Matthau
Woody Harrelson in 2012. Yeah.
Walter Matthau is not to be deterred from finishing that whiskey.
Well, when you look at that, I mean, it's the same thing as like, how many times have people tried to say Mount Vesuvius is extinct? And it consistently proves people wrong.
That's right. There's lots of these ones they say are dormant, all of a sudden come back to life. And some of the, like Etna's always rumbling away and others like that. So.
Well, Etna's one of those ones like Kilauea in Hawaii where it's hard to predict because it's always pretty active.
Yeah.
But it never usually spills over. And then when it does erupt, you get something like Pompeii.
Yeah.
Or Herculaneum.
Yeah. So it's just a fact. We because our lifespans are so short, many people live and die without any of these things really happening in their lifetime. There's some big crap could happen to us.
Mm-hmm. And really
just at the wrong time.
The criteria is if your grandfather can't remember the last time it happened, you think it's a legend, it will never happen.
Yeah. Right. I mean, average wise, they're due for another big one in the San Andreas, but not wishing on them, but it's hey, we live in these areas. People live in areas where shit happens. Yeah. We'll see. Obviously, buildings are built better to withstand it these days. But
Lauren Green, God loving me, gets everybody out of there, and then
it does. And then
has to climb up there and get him because he's having a heart attack. He just can't do it.
I think I know it's a movie, but I think they made a pretty fair stab at what a realistic 9.9 would do to the city.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much leveled everything.
Yeah, I think they made a pretty, of course, all the other problems in water, electricity, there's all gas leaking, and
there's one scene. What was it, man? Oh my God, they're in a neighborhood. It's in the suburbs. They show the suburbs for a minute, and somebody yells at somebody to go turn off the gas in the house, and the guy's got a lit cigarette in his mouth and goes, "Thumbs up!" And he goes running in there.
It's George Kennedy says, turn that gas off.
No. It's somebody else. But I thought it was
George Kennedy.
hilarious, man. Oh
'Cause
my
I'm sure-
God. He
I'm
goes
sure
running
George
in there with a
Kennedy
lit cigarette and blows the whole place to hell. It's freaking hilarious. Oh,
Yeah, and I
gosh,
love this scene. I mean, this street that they've built with obviously it's a mat in the background, but there's a whole studio set here where they've destroyed it. It's great. But then here come the day troops.
There was enough Deuce and a Half still running in the 1970s because they'd already started producing the 5-ton by then.
Yeah.
That the CCKW, there was just hundreds of thousands of them that still ran, so they just used them for every movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we get to the human part, the human villainous part of the story.
Yes. Our National Guard guy. Yeah.
And their whole ethos here has been stop looters, not do anything else to help.
Not help out
looters.
the folks in the national disaster. No, we're going to stop the looters. That's all we're concerned with. Yeah. Break.
So yeah, they're getting set up in various basements, injured people there, they get water and food, blah blah, all the things that you would try and do if there's any kind of a system going. They managed to get some kind of radio system going too. Get me a blood pressure. Just any blood pressure. Not the blood pressure, get me a blood pressure.
A blood pressure. Yeah.
It's going over here.
If your patient's in bad enough shape that you have to go find me his blood pressure, that's not good.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, this was the so the dam. It's the rescue stuff now becomes the focus. Well, I think there's a couple of other small tremors, but yeah, the aftershocks of such a thing would be huge too. A 9.9.
That's the thing. A 9.9 would have aftershocks in the 7 or 8
and
range,
7s.
which
Yeah,
are still destructive as hell.
yeah.
Like it would basically be the end of Los Angeles as a city.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but yeah, here's the daytime soldiers, the part-time soldiers, and it's actually interesting because we know, we're pretty sure that Jody here's a psycho.
Yeah, but now we find it out.
Yeah, now we find it out. What's more more interesting is that his squad at first go along with him. I mean
That's what. Yeah, when I was rewatching this, I was like, that when he first flips right here, this part right here. If he had actually pulled the trigger, they would have taken care of this guy.
Oh yeah,
one way or another. They would have taken care of him. Didn't matter if he outranked them. These are National Guard troops.
Yeah. Soul seems to think that the LA can survive it. Can survive Newsom. Yeah.
It'll be all right, kind of.
I mean, they later on they go to get an officer, but these guys would have stopped that.
Yeah, I mean, he just shoots the shit out of them, and the other guy's like, okay,
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have happened. He either got beat down or shot.
The funny thing is, the National Guard people. This is how Hollywood views soldiers because none of them fucking were.
Right.
But first of all, the guardsmen back then didn't get deployed.
No.
So,
but you got to remember the era this was made. It wasn't that long since Kent State, which was National Guardsmen. So they were still.
The thing they don't tell you about Kent State is that those protesters literally made contact with the soldiers' weapons.
Yeah, well, leaving that aside, though, this is what Hollywood thought of the National Guard as a result of things.
Hollywood doesn't know how soldiers are trained. You make contact with their weapon, they're going to shoot you. Period.
Yeah, that's what they were. Their view. This was their view of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, too.
We're slipping into Ghostbusters territory.
Yeah, right. It is conceivable that certain guys would go over the edge and become really overzealous when you face that kind of disaster, because it's all perspective of what's going on and what your mission is.
Yeah,
you just go, we're in charge now.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you see is you don't get that in this movie because this is a disaster movie and it's just the immediate aftermath. When you get more post-apocalyptic type scenarios where you know society is not coming back in a hurry, that's when those guys start to
Well, some of them will
rails.
start right here with like overzealously shooting looters and stuff like that,
Mm.
which is how you get to the post-apocalypse where all of that stuff is kind of unraveled, and the things that they should trust, people don't because of guys like him.
Yeah. I think I heard earlier when the mayor was talking and Jody got his call that they were deploying an engineering corps as one of the deployments. Of
Right.
They listed 4 or 5 units. But I
And-
mean, what are they going to do when a whole city has been leveled? That's the problem.
To those of you who are not familiar with the United States military, the Army Corps of Engineers is not what they were talking about before. That was like, this specific engineer battalion, which is combat engineers. Basically guys with bulldozers, basic demolition equipment, stuff like that.
They're going to help excavate buildings to try and get survivors out.
Yeah, the Corps of Engineers are the ones who actually will look at most of U.S. infrastructure and come up with a plan to build it.
So this is interesting that cannibalism in about a week, says Davina. Well, it would be better than military rations.
I mean, depending on what they've been eating recently.
And then if you interpret this word in the Obama way, you're going to need a bigger corpse, which you would need if you're a cannibal.
Now, Pope, you need to remember most people don't like to eat crayons.
That's not my fault.
Never said it was.
They don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I do like these scenes are extremely well done. I'm not sure what building that's meant to be.
Yeah, but this is where they actually.
Yeah, there's another.
Once again, something that really just made me laugh. They set up a friggin' triage center in the basement of a building. That doesn't sound too sound.
One that's already half wrecked. Yeah.
Especially during an earthquake.
Right, that's what
a
I'm saying.
fire or a hurricane or something like that. Absolutely right.
Right,
That's exactly where you should be.
But come on,
In
man.
an earthquake, that is the worst idea you could ever have.
Yeah, I don't know how much choice they've got really.
Oh boy, he's getting her jewelry
Yeah,
now.
he's really creeping hard now. Yeah,
Yeah, he is. He's creeping hard.
creeping hard.
Yep.
Now this is when things are
Start to unravel, and the
Yeah.
guys say, "Okay, this guy's lost it. Let's go get somebody to stop this dude." Instead of stopping them,
Of course, because she knows Lou because of the
right,
bar.
yeah, and she presses the issue. She's screaming for him the entire time. That truck's in view. Yeah.
Which
absolutely.
the funny part too is that, like Joe says, like one of the guys in the squad wouldn't just fucking plug him.
Well, now they're saying that guy's cracked, going for an
Yeah.
officer.
Mhm.
But they stood by and watched him shoot 3 looters before, just because.
Yeah, it's like, and if we really had a problem with it, one of us would have pulled out our sidearm and put a bullet in him before.
Yeah. May not have definitely killed him, but we'd definitely stopped
Oh
him
no, I
from
do.
what he was doing.
When you deal with one of your own, you aim for the head,
Yeah,
and you do not stop until he's down.
yeah. Lou to the rescue.
Yep, Lou got her out.
He's going to get to see that T-shirt again tonight. You just know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. He goes in there shooting Jody.
Oh, we forgot about the puppy. I remember.
puppy.
Oh yeah, the puppy.
Yeah, the puppy is awesome. Dude.
Heartwarming puppy.
Yes,
The puppy in the position every man who watched this movie wanted to be in.
That's right. Nestling in there.
I
So,
don't think the puppy knows how to motorboat though.
so now we get the whole.
He'll learn as he gets older.
They know there's people trapped in another basement, and they gotta try and get to them. So we get the personal heroics of Chuck.
Yes. Much to his detriment.
It's his detriment, but they know the water's gonna start flowing.
Got to get those folks out of there.
Gotta get those folks out. Yeah,
And none of them want to go down there with him. And he's like, "Well, I'm going down there. Get me
Well,
a jackhammer. I know how to get these folks out."
that tunnel was well built, though. It didn't collapse or crack. Yeah, well built tunnel. So yeah, I mean, he's doing the old crawling through the. He should have got Charles Bronson for that part. The tunnel.
Right.
cave.
Right? He's kind of big for this.
Charles Bronson.
I mean, hell, it was so famous the guys from Boondock Saints even made fun of it.
Yeah, the tunnel king.
What do you need to grow up for?
X marks the spot. Anyone got any explosives? Oh, no, wait a minute. Yeah. He gets to be the hero. It's good stuff, though. I did enjoy it immensely when I saw it before, and I've always had a soft spot for this movie.
Yeah, dude, it's good stuff. I mean, it's these were the event movies back then. They were.
Yeah, it was. It was an absolute event, and I think I'd
Mhm.
already seen Towering Inferno and Poseidon, so I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for this one."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I saw the Towering Inferno, I thought it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen in history.
No. It's still in my top 5. You know,
Oh,
I love
yeah,
that movie,
I like
dude.
that.
Yeah.
It's still a masterpiece.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is the theatrical version. Talked about the TV version later. The TV version was expanded to 161 minutes from 123, so they could split it over 2 nights as an event thing on TV.
Yep.
And what they did was not only put scenes back in from this that they'd taken out, mainly dialogue stuff, very little extra effects. They inserted like subplots of a couple on a plane flying above
Wow.
the city who were somehow related to Charlton Heston, and so they had all these other subplots that they added that the main director didn't have anything to do with. It was filmed separately. And they
The funny part is when I was young and, movies would be on TV as a kid, like the first thing that would be on the screen was just like, hey, this had been edited for a television audience and cut down for runtime, basically.
Yeah. But some of them back then, to what Brian's talking about, they would add stuff that was
And then
was on the cutting room floor. Like
Well,
if you've ever seen the television broadcast of Superman, the original one with Christopher Reeves, when he goes to see Lex Luthor, he drills down in the ground and he comes out right in front of the door and walks in and pushes in the door, right? It's not how it happened on television when you saw it. He went through 3 tests. The first one was machine gun fire. The next one was fire. Flamethrowers were hitting him. And the next one, he was frozen in a big, huge block of ice. And he busted out of that and then pushed in the door to go see Lex Luthor. It was one of the coolest things I ever saw, but you didn't see it in the theatrical version.
No, but this one bucked the trend. When that's a good thing to add back in this.
And Soul Assassin, this would be about a decade after 10 Commandments?
Oh yeah.
Oh, about that, yeah, at least. Yeah. But they added stuff in that was like all melodrama. Basically, there was no extra action or whatever added, just so they could pad it out. And that just don't ever watch the TV version.
Yeah.
Ever. Stick to the theater.
Do watch the TV version of Christopher Reeve's Superman. It's pretty good.
different story. But this, it's like you're going to get an extra half hour of people talking.
Right.
So don't bother. But yeah, there's the water flowing bit and the dam bursting, the water flowing. That would be massive if that happened. I mean, that would just, hey, we've already crushed people and burnt them. Now we're going to drown them. Like, you suckers. And they've got to get out of the basements, obviously. And
it was a good almost 20 years before this.
Yeah.
10 Commandments came out in 1950.
Holy shit! So yeah,
I didn't know.
I knew it was early. I didn't realize it was that early.
56 is Tim says 56. Wow, 18 years between them.
Yep.
And Charlton Heston was still a big star.
Yep.
He
was a lot
was
younger in 10 Commandments. He was middle-aged when he made this one.
He was.
Now, it's almost like the trio, except it's father, son, and then somebody completely unrelated, but looks like both of them. In that, in initial Hollywood, you have Kirk Douglas doing things like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and then you have Charlton Heston, and then you have his son Michael Douglas shortly after this.
Yep,
that's right. But Chuck is one of these old school Hollywood guys that just.
And here he has the chance to just let her go and start a new life with Genevieve Bujold, and he's a good guy. He can't let her die. He has to go get his wife.
I didn't see that coming when I was watching the movie. I thought
he gets washed away with her.
He sacrifices himself to try and save his wife.
Yep.
When his girlfriend's up there waiting for him.
Yep.
What a man.
Yeah.
What a
Balls
man.
that come as in a dump truck, as they say.
Now, I just want
right
to stop on this scene, which is actually the image I've got in the backdrop today of the show.
Mm-hmm.
What do you notice about this movie is it ends on a really nihilistic note.
Right?
I mean, here's LA for you. This is what we saved everything for. You get to go back to this.
I mean,
You know what? It doesn't look much different than that a couple of months ago.
But the
right?
2 stars die. The city is still in flames and ruined, and it's night falling, and it's not looking good.
and the thing is, this looks like the backdrop that they would use for 1984's Terminator.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the future
doesn't
war.
it? Yeah.
All they have to do is spread skulls all over the street, right?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you've never played it, there's a sequel to Terminator 2 called Terminator Resistance. Came out in like 2018. It only takes place in the original timeline with the first 2 movies, and it's entirely in the future war.
Wow.
It's the Terminator movie we always wanted to see.
Yeah. I like Salvation. It takes
That would have
place
been good.
before.
But yeah, I like the fact that they didn't try and end it on a happy ending, and they showed the scale of the devastation and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not going to fix that in a day, are you?
No. They didn't try and make it a happy ending with rainbows and butterflies and puppies.
I think the last line in the movie, somebody says to George Kennedy, "This used to be a hell of a city." He goes, "Yeah, it was," and that's the shot you see.
That's the shot, which I think is a great ending.
Yep.
I really admired them for that. They didn't try and soften the ending. That was good.
No, good stuff.
What a great movie.
Great movie. Fantastic.
Great movie.
If you've never seen it, watch it sometime, man. It's good.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot. Look, one thing this movie has over the Towering Inferno, that movie is almost completely serious. There's not too much levity in that movie at all. There is some funny shit in this movie, right?
Some of it unintentionally, but some of it is just perfectly
The
timed.
whole bar scene when she's like this and they're all looking at her.
Come on,
The same reaction shot of each one of them. Towering Inferno is a lot more serious, and there's some horrible deaths. Robert Wagner's death for me was the worst one in that, where him and his girl are in the hotel suite, nobody knows they're there.
Yeah.
And he tries to run out through the fire to get help, but he's not going to make it.
Yeah. I tell you, I think the only moment that I laughed in the Towering Inferno is when Steve McQueen says, "Oh shit," when he finds out he has to go on the roof and they're not going to get him down. He's got to make his own way down. He says, "Oh shit." That's not the only time I laughed, man.
Yeah, I do love these. I do love disaster movies. We'll probably get around to one of the Airport 75 is probably the best of the airports.
Yeah.
That might come next. And then Poseidon. We've got to do Poseidon one day.
I'm trying to think. Well,
How about some of the
Allen
other ones, like
his
Dante's
name on those
Inferno?
movies. You know, Irwin Allen had a great sci-fi background in television. Remember, we had Land of the Giants and Lost in Space, and I mean, just you can't count the number of series he had his hands on. But then when he went to the movies, it was all disaster movies. You know, Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno, The Swarm, right? I mean, he made a bunch of them, man. The Swarm, I love The Swarm, but then again, you know, I'm an Irwin Allen freak, so I'll watch anything he made. You know, it's one of the worst movies you'll ever see, but it's a guilty pleasure for me, man. I just laugh.
Oh, yeah, there's so many of these great movies, and they're guilty pleasures, but they're fantastic. They're good fun, even if they look crap now. A lot of them, it's just like.
At a certain point, I'd love to cover like some of the ones from like when I was a kid, like Dante's Inferno and stuff like that. Just not Volcano.
Not Volcano. How about this one? We should do this one. The Big Bus.
The Big Bus.
Nuclear powered bus disaster movie spoof.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah.
We got to do The Big Bus someday.
That'll have to be a cult comedy crew one.
Well, it's a comedy. Yeah, we should actually do it as a cult comedy crew. Let's do The Big Bus one day.
Gosh, I forgot all about that movie, dude.
Yeah, The Big Bus. I've always had a soft spot for that. I saw that at the cinema too.
The Big Bus.
Where was I before we talked about that?
The funny thing is, back in the day, that was not actually that ridiculous an idea. In the 60s, they had been working on nuclear-powered aircraft.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far-fetched. It's,
in the 50s and 60s, they were trying to make everything nuclear-powered.
Yeah. Not that far-fetched, but
And a nuclear-powered tank, too. That was interesting.
You should.
The Chrysler, I think, was TV1. Look it up if you're interested.
Yeah.
It was a weird design.
The big bus sounds like a microcosm of Snowpiercer. Yeah, you'd have the first class people at the front and the economy tickets at the back. It's
Too funny, man.
Deep to Army. See, then they had the 80s or 90s ones, sorry, like Armageddon and Deep Impact. And
I watched both of those in the theater as a kid.
Yes, well, I wasn't a kid, but I did see it in the theater. And I class Independence Day as a disaster movie, not just an alien invasion science fiction movie, because there's so much destruction in it.
Independence Day? Yeah. Well, you know what? John isn't here because he's a big fan of. He's got a huge collection of disaster movies.
That's great. Yeah.
Right next to kaiju movies. That's his favorite genre, and he has a definition. You know, he considers Independence Day a disaster movie. He does.
I do too. Any film that destroys most of the earth.
Yeah, it's completely wiped off the map. Yeah.
Just wanted to say, anyone who hasn't voted in our very scientific poll, you've got 30 seconds to do so. And it was, if you had to live through a disaster movie in real life, which one would you choose? Put yourself in the movie. Choices.
I was the first one that voted, and
choices were Airport 75, Towering Inferno, Earthquake, and the Poseidon Adventure. Which one would you put yourself in?
And I said Airport 75
because
did. I flew simulators. We had a suitcase simulator when I was in Air Force ROTC in high school. Yeah. So I could probably, with a little help from the tower, like that stewardess in the movie, I could probably land that plane. You know what I'm saying?
It's Showgirls considered a disaster movie. Yeah. Well, that's another
studio that made it.
It's a disastrous movie.
Right.
So anyway, we'll end that poll. We've only got 21 votes in it. Thought we might get a couple more, but never mind. Let's end it. And it looks like you're going to get your way, my friend. If it pops up, I can highlight it.
This could land that plane. Yeah, or fly it. I could do it too. Yeah.
Hang on. I got to paste it in here. It's funny how it never shows them in the... paste this in. So...
It's in the chat.
Number one choice, Airport 1975 with 33%. So you'd rather be stranded on an aircraft with no pilots, is what you're saying.
I could fly it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Right. I could get in there and fly it with some help.
Would there be an autopilot? Karen Black could take care of it.
I don't know if Otto's there, but you know, the
well, I mean, hopefully not an inflatable autopilot, but you know.
Karen Black could take care of that. Yeah, if Joe's flying, I want to be the Leslie Nielsen character. We're counting on. They're on instruments.
I'm going to be the guy with the sweat pouring down my face. Right?
Yeah, Earthquake was second at 28%. The Poseidon Adventure, again, you're stuck in a boat. At least in Earthquake, you can kind of think of maybe getting away out of the city. Poseidon Adventure, 23%. And Towering Inferno, 14%. I think that would be the most dangerous one to be in.
Fire, trying to get away from a fire. If you're above it, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble.
I would just want to be in Earthquake just so I could meet Victoria Principal in it.
You know, the Earthquake, probably the easiest one to survive if you can just get outside. If you can get outside on the street, then you can dodge some shit.
At least in an Earthquake, as an old school gamer, the jiggle physics will be amazing.
Yes, it would.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
In fact, if they crossed Showgirls with Earthquake, that would have been even better.
Woof. Yeah. I think they did in that pool scene in that movie.
Or some Russ Meyer movie where he had all the big-breasted girls in them. That would have been good. But anyway, great movie. Thank you guys for your massive contribution to this. It's been a lot of fun. We will revisit disaster movies again at some point. There'll be a little bit of a gap, but I've liked some of the suggestions that have also been made of things we could do. So let's wrap it up, everybody. Imp, my friend, thank you for being here. Anything you'd like?
Sorry, disaster movies aren't exactly my shtick.
No, but you're here anyway, my friend. I appreciate that very much. What you got to plug?
Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be on Mad's channel, as we've been doing lately. More of those shenanigans. I'm not sure what we're talking about. There's been mentions of certain things, but since they were only mentions, I'm not gonna mention them. Might do something with Slender tonight. Not sure. He said he was feeling a little under the weather, so we'll see how that shakes out. So keep an eye on Ascendant Arcade to see if we do something. Other than that, probably Thursday night on Ascendant Arcade, and then Friday on Ascendant Art.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll be there for Ascendant Art, I'm sure. It's always a lot of fun. Ascendant Art channel, everybody check that out. We have a good laugh on Friday night and some trivia sometimes too, which is always fun.
Well, I don't think that'll be happening this week because Chad's still on vacation.
Chad's still on vacation. Well, we'll do what we got to do. Slender is indeed a very able stand-in. Maybe we don't need Chad to come back.
Yeah. I don't really think there's room for two monotone people on that channel, so and one of them's already gone. So,
still waiting for the metal trivia on Ascendant Art. Yes, that would be good.
Yeah, they'll never do it. I keep offering Chad, I'll do the band logo thing, and he's like, I don't know, man. I've seen some of those logos.
One of these days we'll do it on here. I did do a Judas Priest metal trivia when we did the Priest show here. It takes so long to put those together. But thanks for being here, mate. Joe, my friend, thank you to you for being here as usual. What have you got going on?
Oh, thanks for having me, man. You know I love this movie and every other disaster movie there is. For me, we started the long-awaited playthrough of Mass Effect 2. First time I've ever played it, guys. Very interesting to find out that I was Frankensteined into this story. The opening of it we did last week. It was pretty cool. I did not know he died and was gone for 2 years while they put him back together.
The sight of Miranda Lawson's ass revived him.
I mean, my gosh, that would bring anybody to life. Holy. Anyway, we're doing that on Tuesday nights at 10. So tune in for that. And just the regular stuff. This week on State of the Atmosphere, we're going to be doing the March lineup of movies that are coming out. There's quite a few. Actually, I know I've got 10 highlighted, including that Snow White thing that's coming out. But the one that I'm really cautiously looking forward to is the one with Mia Jovovich and what's his name, the wrestler. God, he was Drax in the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Yeah, Dave Bautista. Something Lost World or something like that. I can't remember exactly the name of the movie, but it's another one directed by her husband. You know, that's what she does. She makes movies with her husband, and it looks like another one of those post-apocalyptic shoot 'em ups. So looks cool. Anyway, we're going to be doing that, you know. So go check the lineup, go like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you for having me on, Brian. Great.
No, my pleasure, buddy. And last and definitely not least, our great friend Pope Metallicus. Good to see you, mate. What have you got going on?
Well, as always, you can catch me every Saturday over on my own channel at 11 p.m. Eastern for Midnight Mass, my weekly radio show, which I heavily encourage everyone to go take a look at. I deal with a lot of, hard rock, heavy metal, a lot of classic stuff, a lot of newer stuff that I think needs more attention. Occasionally somebody we know, like Joe's brother, will put out an album and I'll throw a song or two of that on there. And other than that, it's kind of like the old school, late night radio shows like Nights with Alice Cooper or something like that, which is what I kind of based it on. So hopefully you guys like it. I know I enjoy doing it. I haven't been as consistent with it recently because I'm working a lot, but other than that, you can find me every other Sunday, usually on Vital Revival's channel over on Rumble for a discussion on whatever band we're talking next. I believe our next episode is going to be on Tom Petty. So hopefully that'll
nice.
You all join me for that.
Love some Tom Petty, brother. Yes.
Of course. And then, as always, you can find me every Monday on here.
Cool. I'm so glad you are, mate. Thank you very much indeed. As for c'est moi, well, my good buddies, the Rock and Roll Rowdies, we're putting a little bit of a push back into their YouTube channel to put a link in the chat to their channel to try and boost them a little bit, because I wasn't able to be involved for a while, but I'm starting to kind of drop in to do some live shows with them again as an MC on their channel. The last one of which we did last week and it's already had 4.1k views on the stream we did last Wednesday.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, we're hoping to kind of build on that, get them up. They're up to 1.15k subscribers. 4,000 views in any live stream is a killer number. So
Yeah,
well
it
done to them. So we'll be doing a few more live streams with them as well. Love those guys. So check that out. As for me, tomorrow night, later tonight, I'll be in Comics Division, Monday Night Meltdown. Tomorrow is 32 Flavors of Nick Visor. So Nick's channel for Toxic Tuesday. I think we're doing the second Bill and Ted movie. Wednesday, I try to do fuck all.
Yeah.
Thursday, Comics Division, Midnight Sedge After Dark Comics Division. Friday, Ascendant Art. Saturday night, Bourbon Boarding with Brahma. Sunday, sometimes Midnight Sedge After Dark with Tom and his ranking lists, if it happens. And then we'll be back here next Monday for some unspecified show, although I am leaning towards doing something music, even though it's a lot of prep to do. Toying with Van Halen. Toying with talking about Van Halen. How would everybody feel about that?
I would do it in 2 seconds. I would love it. It's awesome.
I mean, I always love talking.
Eddie's first ex is from Shreveport, Louisiana. I've met him.
His first ex.
Yeah, Valerie Burton.
So I think Van Halen might be a nice music topic to visit. Probably restrict it to the first Dave Lee Roth years, just because otherwise it's too big a subject. But let's do Van
it is
Halen.
kind of huge. You do need to separate Diamond Dave and Van Hagar.
We'll separate them for now, and let's do that. Let's do that, because that's one I could talk about all day. I love that era. So it sounds like maybe we'll start it on YouTube and then flip over to Rumble and play some actual music. So we'll see.
That's what I'm talking about. That could be cool.
And speaking of Rumble, I'd like to thank anyone watching on Rumble, but specifically, Joe, you were over there in the chat, and Vince Womack, who's kind of modding over there too. Thanks for being over there, guys. Thanks to anybody who watched on Twitter as well. I know the stream was running. And
if I'd have known that, I had that up for that too, man. Shoot.
Okay. And I'd like to thank everybody on the YouTube chat that's been very active today. Davina and D-Bud doing a lot of great modding. Thank you very much, guys, for that. Eric K is also there, but a whole bunch of you have been there chatting away. I appreciate it very much that you come back here every week. So keep clicking like and subscribing and sharing things out. I got a couple of videos of Korean shows that I've watched recently I reviewed. Those are doing quite nicely. Check those out in those two great TV shows I was talking about in those videos. And what else? There was something, and it's gone right out of my head.
Poof! It's gone.
It could
just like
not have been. What if it could just disappear? Whatever it was, it'll come back to me.
Too much shit.
It's getting old,
buddy. Too much
old. So, yeah. So thanks. Thanks to mods. Consider that the low cost entry of 99 cents becoming a member of the channel. Memberships really do help. And I don't have a lot of them, but if the more I get, the more I'll be able to do with those members. I have those at the high sticker level. I do send out mixed CDs and stickers and stuff, and I'm working on some other promotional stuff like t-shirts and whatever. Got a Canon Film Club t-shirt, which is really good. That kind of stuff. So memberships helps me get that stuff going too. So, and probably do a Baldur's Gate 3 stream so people can see just how bad I am at playing that game.
It's a fun game, though.
It's a fun game, but I'm like turn-based shit. I'm like, I don't know what am I supposed to do with this. Anyway, love you all. Thank you very much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your night and your week. We will see you again soon. So until then, take care and keep on rocking.